Over the last 3 years, I've helped my clients make over $50 million with their ecom brands. This video is a compilation of all my best strategies that I use to scale ecom brands to 7 figures and beyond, including meta ads, Google ads, and general ecom scaling best practices. Enjoy. Over the last 5 years, I've helped scale meta ad accounts to over 50 million in tracked revenue, and I've noticed that around 90% of brands hit the same wall at about 30K per month in ad spend. Their CPA skyrocket, their return ad spend tanks, and they get stuck in the turn on, turn off hamster wheel. Today, I'm giving you the exact 100K meta ads blueprint. We've used this framework to scale brands like Bololo from 160K per month to over 1.5 million per month in revenue, or Nooktails from 30K per month to over 500K per month in revenue in only 75 days. By the end of this video, you'll have the complete operating system to turn meta ads into a profitable cash flow engine. Let's start with why 9 out of 10 meta ad accounts completely stall. Scaling problems are rarely about the algorithm. They're about the system. The biggest issues are usually an old school setup, so they're still using media buying techniques from 2022, like ABOs, audience targeting, top of funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel splits. But the problem is, meta has changed, and so should the structure. There is a lot of campaign chaos going on, like 42 campaigns, half were duplicated from 2022, random names, advertising random products. No one really knows what's active. And the problem with that is no structure, no scalability. The third problem is creative starvation. So basically only recycling old angles, swapping out thumbnails, trying new hooks. But the last new concept was more than 6 weeks ago. And the problem is the audiences are starving for new content. The algorithm can't save you if you don't feed it. The fourth issue is tracking mistrust. So Meta shows a return ad spend of 2.4, GA4 shows 0.8, Shopify shows sales are flat. Who do you believe? The problem is if you don't trust your data, you can't make real decisions. And the last issue is the handbrake budgeting. Manual tweaks daily, scaling up 50% and cutting by noon, constant resets. And if the learning phase is broken, there's no data and no predictability. The bottom line, you don't have a scaling system. Bottom line, you don't have a scaling problem, you have a system problem. And this blueprint will fix it for you. So here's a beautiful example of an ad account with zero structure. And that is a real ad account that I audited. And yeah, you see they're spending decent money, but it's a complete mess. I can just keep scrolling, keep going on, and you'll see the naming, the setup, like nothing makes sense. There are like tens of campaigns, like 421 campaigns, a bunch of them active at the same time, a bunch of them spending a lot of money, and you see the campaigns have spent 2.8 million. And was the brand getting results? Yes. Were they getting the best possible results? No. Did anyone know what is going on? No. No one had an idea what was going on in all the campaigns, what kind of products they were promoting, what they had to scale, what kind of creators they were testing. It was a complete mess. No one knew anything. So what does a 100K meta ad system look like? Not like that. Here's what separates ad accounts that scale from those that stall. You have a scalable 2025 campaign structure with like simple architecture, CBO, ASC campaigns with no complexity. Like the one that I shared before, it doesn't work. Simplicity scales. Then you need a cold-friendly offer. Not just a discount, but a bundled product that makes money on the first purchase. Some people call it acquisition offer. Some call it cold traffic offer, cold-friendly offer, whatever. It's just an offer that is there to bring new customers into the door at a profit. Then you need a weekly creative production pipeline with 3 to 5 new ads per week, tested using structured reviews and clean tracking stack, clear optimization and scaling process without any guesswork, and naming conventions and a dashboard. So the bottom line, the 100K system isn't about tricks. It's about running a repeatable process built on clarity, structure, and data. Here's an example of an ad account with structure. We see there are only 4 different campaigns that have spent close to 900,000 euros with a 4.6 average return on ad spend. They've generated 4.1 million in conversion value, and it's 4 campaigns. 4 campaigns that are running the whole account, that are getting amazing results, and that allow us to scale the account at a 73 euro cost per acquisition with a 4.6x return on ad spend. So let's jump into the 100K meta ads growth framework. It all starts with the offer, the cold offer audit. So why cold-friendly offers are the foundation? The most scaling issues aren't traffic problems, they're offer problems. So cold traffic has no brand trust. They're not searching for you, and they need a reason to act now. So without a cold-friendly offer, the return ad spend is unpredictable. Customer acquisition cost creeps up, ad fatigue accelerates, and growth plateaus before 20 to 50K per month in ad spend. And a cold-friendly offer fixes this by converting strangers into profitable customers on day one without having to rely on long customer lifetime value and cash flow to come back one day. So a cold-friendly offer is basically an offer that converts cold traffic, so people who don't know your brand, at the same time generates profit on the first purchase, creates some kind of urgency without trust, or creates some kind of urgency and trust without gimmicks, and encourages repeat purchases. Typically includes a high margin bundle, value-based pricing, irresistible value prop, strong risk reversal guarantee, and real urgency or scarcity. So here's an example of what a standard versus a cold-friendly offer looks like. So a standard offer is just a regular product at a regular price with a cost-plus pricing model, low value perception for the customer, weak or standard guarantee, and no urgency or maybe a fake timer that you're using. A cold-friendly offer, in comparison, is a high-margin bundle with value bonuses on top. The pricing is based on perceived value and return on investment. The value perception is very high. You have bonuses, you have guides, it's exclusive. You have a risk reversal guarantee, and you have ethical scarcity. So real scarcity, real urgency that gets people to buy right now without using fake timers. So the cold-friendly offer audit. You can use this 4-point audit to validate or improve your cold traffic offer. So, is your AOV at least 1.5 your target customer acquisition cost? Can a 10-year-old repeat the promise in one sentence? Do you offer a bold and aggressive risk reversal guarantee? And is there a real incentive to act now? So, inventory-based urgency, deadlines, limited bonuses. If you need help crafting your cold-friendly offer, If you need help crafting the cold-friendly offer, there's a link down below for our cold traffic conversion blueprint, and there you will have every single step to build that offer for you. Step 2, the tracking stack setup. If you can't measure profit accurately, you can't scale. This is the exact stack that we use across every 100K per month meta ad account we manage. For ideal tracking, we need the Metapixel, conversion API, GA4, third-party tracking, and make sure that we are weekly making cross-checks for the tracking. So for the Metapixel setup, if you're using Shopify, it's very straightforward. Go to Shopify admin, settings, customer events, click connect under Meta, Facebook Pixel, select the correct business manager and Pixel ID, complete authorization, confirm the connection. Then go to the events manager, test events, check that the purchase event works. And this is just the very basic setup that will work on the setup. For the conversion API, go to Shopify settings, customer event, Meta, and enable server-side tracking or the conversion API. In the Meta Events Manager, under the Diagnostics tab, the event match quality should be above 8. If not, your tracking is not accurate enough. Here we see on a purchase event, it's at 9.3 out of 10, which is good. And the conversion API helps Meta link server events, so directly from the Shopify checkout to the user sessions, to the meta events when the cookies are blocked. And it just improves the delivery, reporting accuracy, and retargeting effectiveness. So then the GA4, I mean, you can just look through it. It's very straightforward to implement. GA4, Google Analytics 4, is just an additional tracking tool that we want to have there for the website in general. Then we always recommend some kind of third-party tracking tool like Triple Whale, Hyros, or Northbeam. You simply set them up, and they are way more accurate than the in-platform tracking because they also have the data from multiple platforms. So if you're advertising on Meta, Google, TikTok, Pinterest, whatever, it will have all of that data connected to Shopify, connected to your email marketing, and you will have way more data and the media mix visibility. So, and then you should make sure that on a weekly basis, you're checking whether the tracking works. So compare the return ad spend across multiple platforms. The variance should ideally be only at about 10%. So if Meta says a 2.1 return ad spend, other platforms should show 1.9 to 2.3x return ad spend. Without proper tracking, you can't scale. You will lose out a lot of money. Maybe the results are way better than what you think, and you could have been scaling way more aggressively, or the results are way worse than what you think, and you're scaling, but in reality, you're just losing money. So tracking is the basic foundation. It always has to work. You always need to have the data. Then the next step is the campaign architecture. So the campaign structure is very important for scale because Meta rewards simplicity, clarity, and signal strength. Confused structures just lead to confused delivery and bad performance. So here's the system that we usually use to scale from 10K to 100K per month. Small caveat, it depends on the e-commerce brand, the categories, how many products there are, how many countries there are. And Meta also changes every single week, every single month. And like with some accounts, we still have a traditional ASC, Advantage Plus shopping campaign. With some, it's just a normal CBO campaign. But generally, the general structure is the same, and it should have like a simple structure. So CBO for testing, where we test new creatives, test new concepts, maybe test some audiences, and where we do some testing, where we give the creative enough budget to exit the learning phase and just see what works. Then we have a CBO campaign for scaling, where we push the proven winners in a clean, consolidated structure. Then an ASC campaign or ASC type of campaign to maximize volume once the creative library is strong enough, once we have more than 10 winners, and optional or potential a cost cap campaign to really protect the customer acquisition cost while scaling very, very aggressively. The structure matters because Meta optimizes by campaign, not by ad, so we don't want to spread the signals too thin. We need to have a good naming convention to fast filter and have better decision making. And the simpler the structure, the cheaper usually the CPMs. You have fewer overlaps and faster learning, and the results will be better. So the testing campaign is basically where you test the creative concepts. So it's a CBO campaign, broad only. In some cases, it might make sense to test a lookalike audience or some interests, but usually it's broad. We have 3 to 5 ad sets per campaign. Each ad set should be one creative concept, and in each ad set, we have 3 to 5 ads with different formats: UGC, static, video. The budget is set on the campaign level because we still want to give Meta some flexibility, some room to play with the algorithm. We're not big fans of ABO campaigns. They're too strict, but we can still add controls like minimum spend limits on the ad sets. So basically, if we have 4 ad sets, we can say that each ad set should spend at least $30 per day, but the rest of the campaign budget can be distributed however the algorithm wants. The daily budget recommendation should be the AOV times the number of campaigns divided by 3. So if the AOV is 60, you have 15 ads, you should be spending $300 per day for that campaign. If you want to add the minimum spend limits, let's say the campaign budget is $300 per day. We have 5 ad sets with $40 per day minimum spend per ad set. That means Meta will spend $200 of those $300 evenly across all ad sets, and then $100 will be left to the algorithm to optimize freely. That gives you the best of both worlds, fairness and flexibility. If an ad has spent over 1 times the AOV, the return ad spend is below 1 or below profitable, the click-through rate is 0.8, then you should be pausing it. And if the return ad spend is above 2 or profitable, then you should be promoting it to a scaling campaign. But you should let the ads run 72 hours before you make any judgment. So for the scaling campaign, we also select a CBO campaign, broad only, 1 or 2 ad sets, 1 per product line or offer. And then on the ads, we promote creatives with above 2x return ad spend over 3+ days, or the ones that are profitable from the testing campaign. For the budget strategy, you should start with about $100 to $200 per day, depending on your AOVs, and then increase by 10 to 20% every 24 to 72 hours if the 3-day return ad spend is profitable. Do not scale winners while adding new tests to it. Winners from testing go here once proven, and nothing gets introduced into this campaign. The ASC campaign, Advantage Plus Shopping campaign, you should only use that once you have 10 plus proven winners, and when the daily spend of the account is above $1,000. You should have clean exclusions in place, so 30-day buyers, 7-day add to carts, for example, and you should have a full funnel creative mix. 70% of the ads in the Advantage Plus campaign should be for top of the funnel, so hook driven, benefit driven, and 30% should be for bottom of the funnel, so offer, urgency, testimonials, catalog ads, those type of ads. So the campaign type is Advantage Plus Shopping. You need ideally 5 plus videos, 2-3 statics, the product catalog. The goals for purchases and the budget is $100 to $2,000 per day. Optional, you can have a cost cap scaling campaign with a ladder strategy. This is the best tool to scale really aggressively while protecting the margins. So that's when you're spending 2 to 5K per day. The return ad spend is stable over the last couple of days, and you really want to push volume, but also control the CPAs. Then you basically set up a cost cap campaign with 3 different ad sets. The base, mid, and the top. And the base is the target CPA plus 15%, the mid is the target CPA plus 25%, and the top is the target CPA plus 50%. So example, if your target CPA, the goal CPA that you're shooting for is $40, then the ladders should be $60, $50, and $46. The ad sets, apart from the target, they should be identical. Kill underperformers after 48 to 72 hours and let Meta decide where delivery clears efficiently. Those cost caps should be run alongside the scaling CBO, so definitely don't replace them. So basically, as a campaign overview, the 2025 scaling structure overview, we have the CBO testing campaign, the CBO scaling campaign, Advantage Plus, and potentially a cost cap scaling for more advanced and higher budget accounts. So the campaign budget example, so if you have $1,000 per day in budget, $250 per day should be roughly in the testing campaign, $500 per day on the CBO scaling, and then $250 day on the ASC. Some additional tips: use exclusions. So 30-day buyers, add to carts, view content, whatever you want to exclude from those campaigns to make sure you target the right people. Don't run ASC campaign until you've validated 8 to 10 ads via the CBO testing. For CBO testing, we recommend the minimum spend limits equal to 1.2 to 1.5 times the AOV per ad set. And you should use the 7-day click plus 1-day view, or the 7-day click or 1-day click attribution, depending on your AOV or impulse level. In the beginning, you should be shooting for the 7-day click plus 1-day view. But if you're getting a lot of purchases and it inflates the numbers, you can switch to 7-day click and then potentially even to 1-day click attribution. But that's only if you're getting more than 50 purchases per day and you have a very low AOV and very high impulse level with your product. So the structure works because the CBO testing with minimum spends prevents Meta from overfavoring one ad early. The ASC still drives low customer acquisition costs. The ASC drives low CAC acquisition when creative diversity is high. The cost cap lets you scale profitably even at 5 to 10K per day. broad targeting at all campaigns is way more stable and cheaper in terms of CPMs. And without ABOs, you have way easier budget management and faster data collection. Remember that brand from last week whose Google ads made me question my faith in humanity? Well, plot twist, they also sent me their Meta Ads account to review. And folks, I need you to sit down for this, because what I'm about to show you defies all logic and reason. Their Facebook campaigns are structured like someone let a toddler loose in their ads manager with a credit card and zero supervision. We have got audiences overlapping so hard, they're basically just paying Facebook to compete against themselves. Campaign fragmentation from hell, and ad creatives talking about new year, new me in August. This is going to be painful, but someone needs to say it. Before we go into the ad account, here a quick business snapshot. So the brand is in the supplements and sports nutrition industry. They're selling and advertising in the US, and the revenue is currently at $100K per month. The average order value of the brand is at $77, with the new customer average order value being slightly lower than that, with a site-wide conversion rate of 1.46%. Over the last 12 months, the business has been slowly declining. They're 14% down year over year, and the blended customer acquisition cost is currently very high. It's at $111, and with that, with the new customer average order value, their blended new customer return ad spend is only at 0.65x. That means with every new customer that they acquire, they're just losing money. And that's even counting in all the organic customers and all the customers coming from email and all the other channels, not even looking at the new customers from paid ads specifically. The marketing manager from the brand told me they have strong brand equity and a very loyal customer base, but year over year, the revenue is just declining. The loyal customer base has been helping them, like over the last couple of years, to be at a decent revenue level and not just completely die. But the new customer acquisition is definitely not working. Currently, it's about 80% that are returning customers, and the paid media efficiency is just very, very weak. With the current agency, they're not able to improve the new customer acquisition, and the brand is also not happy with the reporting. Like the analytics and dashboards are missing. The agency is only providing very limited insights, and that's why they reached out to us and asked us to take a look at their Google account and their Meta account. The main goal is to scale the paid advertising from about 40 to 50K per month that they're spending right now towards 150,000 per month, while at the same time improving efficiency and making sure that they can acquire new customers profitably. The marketing manager already mentioned that just from his perspective, not knowing much about paid advertising, the Meta ad account setup doesn't look good, and just taking a quick glance at it, I can totally understand that. I get that. So let's go into the ad account. So we already see a lot of different active ad campaigns, a lot of different things going on. So over the last 30 days, they have spent $35,000 on the ads, with a CPM of $13. Quite a lot of link clicks. A healthy overall click-through rate, 1.99%, close to 2%. And then if we look at some of the other metrics, we see that the return ad spend. Oh, you're not able to see it. The return on ad spend for most of the campaigns is quite low. It's about 1.2, 1.9. Some of them even 0.8, 0.48. Some have no purchases at all, from what it seems like. Yeah, but quite a lot going on. All right. So the first thing that I look at when I go into the account, obviously, I just saw like the sheer amount of active campaigns, but usually I start with looking at the tracking. So going to the events manager and then looking how the tracking is looking, how the tracking is set up. We see it seems to be working. It seems to be tracking the data. But we already see that the event match quality is quite low for some of the events. For the purchases, it's the most important event is the purchase event. There it's not bad. It's at 9.2 out of 10. So that is already good. But we see that for some of the other events, the event match quality is quite low. And that just means that Meta is not able to match enough events between the conversion API and the metapixel, and therefore doesn't have the best possible data. We have this guide which basically shows like how to improve the event match quality, how to make sure that the event match quality is higher, better, and Meta has better data. Because in the end, the better the data is that you give Meta to optimize the campaigns, the better the performance will be. Without even you having to do anything, Meta will just have more data, more insights into what works and what doesn't, and therefore will be able to advertise the ads, to show the ads more efficiently and get better results. If you want this guide, just leave a comment down below, and I'll send it over. All right, going back to the ad account. So the next thing is just like looking at the account structure, understanding the account structure, and just looking at this, it already looks like quite a mess. So with Meta nowadays, ideally you want to have a simplified structure. You want to make sure that everything is as simple as possible, as consolidated as possible, and you don't have a bunch of different campaigns, a bunch of different ad sets, and you really only like having as many campaigns as necessary, but obviously as little as possible. Because that will just allow you to have way more data, way more insights into what works, what doesn't work. And at the same time, Meta will have way more insights into what works, what doesn't. The campaigns and the ads will be able to get out of the learning phase and will be able to operate more efficiently and get better results. So just right away looking at that account and looking at the number of campaigns and at the current ad spend, it's just way too much. I mean, with the brand and with that ad spend, like I would probably recommend having 2 to 5 different campaigns maximum, to make sure that we can really utilize the budget in a way where it makes sense. And obviously, sometimes if you advertise in a lot of different countries or have different audience demographics that you're targeting, different customer avatars that you're targeting, or completely separate, like different product categories where like it doesn't really make sense to advertise them to the same people, to the same degree, or like completely different average order values, like some very cheap products, some very expensive products, then you need to have like a more sophisticated account structure and more different campaigns. But in this case, it looks like it's completely overkill and just a mess. I've ranked it by looking at the campaigns that got the most spend, because obviously the more a campaign has spent, the more like important it should be, the better the results should be, and the more data it has. And I mean, if we just look at the last 30 days, even the campaign that has spent the most only had 45 purchases, which is nowhere near enough for Meta to have enough data to get properly out of the learning phase and be able to optimize the ads efficiently. I mean, Meta themselves, they recommend having 50 conversions, 50 purchases per week in a campaign. But here we don't even get to 50 purchases a month. And that is even though the average order value isn't high with those $77. So with a client like that, with a brand like that, we should be able to have way higher volume on a campaign level, and therefore will be able to make optimizations way better. Then I also see that this seems to be a New Year's campaign. And we're currently in September already. So I'm not sure why why a New Year's campaign is currently running in the account. I mean, we can quickly look at the history. Let me look at the charts. Okay, yeah. So the campaign was launched in January. So it makes sense that like from the naming convention and everything, it's a New Year's campaign, New Year, New You type of campaign. But it looks like it's still running, and it's still spending money to this date. And it's actually the high spending campaign over the last 30 days. And it's kind of weird to have a New Year's campaign still running. Now let me see whether the ads are still. So I mean, again, going into the into the campaign, we see that there are 30 different ad sets running, and they all have it's an ABO campaign. So the budget is set on an ad set level. And we have like 30 different ad sets with like a $5 to $1 per day budget. So again, like already the campaign itself has not enough budget to be able to get out of the learning phase, get enough data to be able to learn. But then going into the ad sets, it's even way worse. Like, I mean, that is crazy. Like the campaign already like limited budget has 30 different ad sets that all have their own ad set budget. So like they don't even let Meta optimize and distribute the budget based on the performance. They decide the strict specific budget for every single ad set, and per ad sets it's only like $5 to $1. Like there are a bunch of different ad sets with $1 per day budget. And I mean, with that, yeah, you're not able to get any results. Like it's just a complete waste of money. And we see like here all the ad campaigns had 0 purchases over the last 30 days. Yeah, and it's like even the best, like the best performing ad set, the one with the highest ad spend, had 4 purchases over the last 30 days. I mean, yeah, there's one that had 6 purchases. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like yeah. So, I mean, the campaign overall has a return ad spend of 1.27, which is not great, but also not the worst one from the account. But we see there are tons of different ad sets that don't have any data. And most of them, almost, yeah, all of them have been running since January this year. So it was actually like a New Year's campaign that for some reason is still running to this date. I mean, we can quickly check the ads themselves. Yeah, I mean, even the creatives, I probably have to blur it out for the sake of the brand. But even the ad creatives themselves are New Year's campaigns and New Year's ads. So they're still running, they're still spending money on New Year's campaigns, on New Year's ads in September. I mean, you can soon launch them again because we're getting closer to the next year, but they've been running since January this year. And yeah, I mean, the results are not great, and we can see it on the click-through rate, like that the ads are just not relevant at all. And yeah, just not. Yeah, I mean, the click-through rate for this campaign is at 0.35%. That means out of 100 people that see the ad, only like not even one person clicks on that ad. Like 300 people have to see the ad only for one person to click on it. Like it's a very strong sign that it's not relevant at all, and the creatives and the audiences don't resonate at all, or the people are just tired of seeing New Year's ads from this brand in September. Yeah, so the average on Meta is 1%, 1% click-through rate. That means out of 100 people that see the ad, 1%, one person clicks on it. That is the average. We're usually shooting for like a 2 to 3% to really make sure that the ads are relevant, engaging, and targeting the right people. And here we're at 0.35%. Yeah, like looking at the overall account, the performance is definitely not great. We see the link click-through rate is really low for most of the campaigns, like 0.35%, 0.28%, 0.24%, 0.43%. it's crazy low. Like, I don't think I've ever seen those low click-through rates. Here we have a high one, 3.63, but that is a link click campaign. So that is basically a campaign that is just like optimizing for link clicks, getting as much traffic as possible, as cheap as possible. And I mean, with a brand like that, I would not even like have any link clicks campaigns, because those are, being completely honest, those are complete waste of money. With an account like that, it should be all optimized for purchases. It should be all like, yeah, all campaigns should be optimized for getting purchases, for getting results, because that what allows the brand to have a positive return on ad investment, return on ad spend, and then they will be able to scale, to increase the budget, to spend more, to double, triple, 10x the ad spend, the ad budget. And then they will automatically get way more traffic, way more awareness, and all those other things that brands always want to have. The best way to get them is to get purchases, be profitable, be successful, and spend way more budget. And once you're spending millions on ads every single month, then you'll have the brand awareness and the traffic that you want without having to actively pushing it. We see there are also some campaigns that for some reason have like multiple different attribution settings, multiple conversions that they're targeting. So overall, I mean, the whole account just looks really, really messy, and it looks like there's no structure in place. And those like traffic campaigns push up the average. So the average link click-through rate at 2% looks okay. But if we just look at the conversion campaigns, we see that it's actually really, really low. Because with a traffic campaign, it's easy to have like a 5% link click-through rate or higher than that. Like it's not good. Here, even like a 10% is also like a link click campaign. So with that, like the average is not 1%. When I was talking about the average link click-through rate being 1%, I was talking only about purchase campaigns, conversion campaigns, these type of campaigns. Yeah. So with that, like the average order value fluctuates between the campaigns, but I mean, as I mentioned, it's all based on very limited data, based on not many insights, because the budget per campaign and the results per campaign are just so low. We see the cost per link clicks are really high, especially considering that their CPMs are good. Like the CPMs are decent, with like $13, $14, $15. Those are normal, I would say. But since the click-through rate is so crazy low, and not a lot of people click on the ads, with that, the cost per link click is just really, really high. All right. The client, the brand, they also said that they're not able to get new customers, and that they're struggling with new customer acquisition. So let's actually look at the audience breakdown, and let's look at how the budget is distributed between the different audiences. And yeah, we already see that a lot of spend is going to existing customers. Like with this campaign from the $3,500, $1,300 were spent on existing customers and $2,100 on new audiences. Here it's 1,300 on existing, 1,900 on new audiences. And here's 1,000 existing, 2,000 new audiences. So it's great to see that at least the spend is higher on new audiences than on existing customers. So at least Meta is spending more on new audiences than on existing. But the split is still very, very skewed or very aggressive for existing customers. So usually with a brand like that, we want to have 80 to 90% of the budget going into new audiences, potentially even more than that, because all the focus should be on new customer acquisition, on acquiring new customers, get them into the door. And then obviously we want to have a little bit of remarketing, a little bit of retargeting, but ideally emails should do the heavy lifting, and just having a great product that leads to people coming back to you and reordering. And here it's really like a lot that is coming from existing customers. We see for some of those campaigns, there were more purchases from existing customers than from new audiences. And yeah, it's definitely a lot of existing customers that are coming to, that are getting targeted and that are buying it. With that, we also see that the frequency is actually really, really high. Like on the whole account, the frequency over last 30 days is at 5.2. That means on average, every single person like who got targeted by the ads has seen the ads over 5 times. And for a brand that is spending 35,000 and that is targeting a pretty big audience, a big market, and at the same time also wants to be focusing on new customers, it's a really, really high frequency. Like 5.2 is crazy high. And that basically means that they keep showing the ads over and over and over to the same people. And a lot of those are existing customers or people who are maybe like engaged audiences. Like here, it's for some reason, it's not defined yet. You can technically also have an engaged audiences. And then the new audiences tab will be split between completely new audiences and then people who engaged with the brand before. Would be interesting to see what the split here is, because based on the data, it looks like Meta is just showing the same ads to the same people over and over and over again. And therefore, we have a really, really high frequency. I mean, for the existing customers, it's unbelievably high. Like for this one campaign, the New Year's campaign, over the last 30 days, the frequency is at 22. That means the people in that campaign have seen those ads 22 times over the last 30 days. If we look at this campaign, it's 18. If we look at this, it's 21. Here, it's 14. And obviously, like the existing customers across all campaigns are the same. And that means they're just seeing the ads over and over and over and over again. And like, I wouldn't be surprised if they just start to hate that brand because like they don't see any other ads. They just see these ads. And I mean, we looked at the creatives briefly, and they're okay, but not relevant. Like it's still showing the New Year's ads, for example. And yeah, that means people have been seeing the same ads for the past 9 months, and they see them like maybe hundreds of times every single month across all the different campaigns. And that is crazy. But also for new audiences, the frequency is really high. I mean, with a brand like that, we want to have the frequency between 1 to 2 because we don't want to like just keep showing the same ads to the same people over and over again. We want to expand our reach. We want to increase our funnel. We want to make sure that the brand gets shown to new people, to completely new audiences all the time. And we target new potential customers. But here we see even for the new audiences, the frequency is 4.8, 3.5, 6.3, 3.8, 3.98. So really, really high. And that means that Meta has decided that those creatives that they're currently using, those ads that they're currently using, are only working for a very, very small pool of people, for a very small audience. And they're just showing the content to that small audience. For us, that means basically that we need completely different creative strategy, different content strategy to make sure that we can open up the funnel and show the ads to a wider range of people and show the ads to more people, to more different people, and expand our reach. And with that, like just have way more people to target, because right now, with the current setup, Meta just keeps showing the same ads to the same people over and over and over again. And with that, like the return ad spend is surprisingly like not even completely terrible. Like 1.2, not great. Like the brand should be significantly higher than that. But considering that it's just showing the same old ads to the same people, I wouldn't have been surprised if it's even worse. But we obviously also have to consider that a lot of those are existing customers, and like almost half of the purchases are from already existing customers that are just repurchasing, that are like fans of the brand. And oftentimes with those, the ads don't really have that much of an incremental effect. Like a lot of those people would have bought anyways, and it doesn't matter whether they see an ad or not, they will buy. So the ad spend can be wasted, or it is oftentimes wasted if you just keep showing those ads to those people over and over again. I mean, we can also quickly look at the attribution window and at the attribution settings, because overall the account uses 7-day click, 1-day view attribution. And that means if in the last 7 days someone has seen an ad, if in the last 7 days someone has clicked on an ad, or in the last 24 hours someone has seen an ad and they just purchase, then Meta can count it as a purchase, as an ad. And wow. I mean, we already see it. Like with the 7-day click plus 1-day view, this campaign had 45 purchases. This one had 44. This one had 63. So okay-ish results. But then if we just look at 7-day click, so we just remove the 1-day view attribution, those people that in the last 24 hours have seen an ad but haven't even clicked on it, haven't engaged with it, it immediately drops down to almost no purchases, like 4 purchases, 5, 8, 6. And looking at 1-day click, it's even lower than that. Wow, that is the craziest, the worst possible results that I've ever seen, I think. That is literally unbelievable. Like the cost per result with 7-day click plus 1-day view is at $78, which is too high for the brand, but still like in the realm. Like still, like if the customer comes back, reorders at some point, they might be profitable. But looking at 7-day click attribution, it's $885, and 1-day click, it's $1,181. Wow, they're spending, like imagine they're spending $1,000 to get a customer who buys something for on average $77, and then potentially comes back, maybe doesn't. That is crazy. I mean, we don't have the return on ad spend on here. Let me pull it up. Purchase return on ad spend. Here. Yeah, I mean, it's not even existent with the other attribution windows. Is that correct? Yeah, I mean, the return ad spend is for some reason not even existent if you look at 1-day click or 7-day click attribution. But yeah, I mean, we see it's like those numbers are massively inflated by those 1-day view attributions. So people who just saw the ad over the last 24 hours but haven't even clicked on it. And I mean, it makes sense because what is happening right now, Meta is basically just showing the ads over and over and over again to the same people all the time. And those are the people where Meta already knows that they will buy at some point, either because they're existing customers or because like how they behave, how they have been on the website, how they engage with the organic content, like all of those things. Meta knows that those people will buy at some point, and therefore Meta just keeps showing them the ads over and over and over again. And at some point they buy. Like they don't even click on the ads because they're tired of them. Like they have seen those ads hundreds of times already, so they don't want to click on it. They don't click on it. But at some point they buy, and because Meta showed them one ad in the last 24 hours, whether they like looked at it or not, whether they like immediately skipped it or not, like it doesn't matter. Meta can count it as a purchase with this attribution window. And yeah, looking at just 7-day click, even 7-day click, most of those purchases are not getting tracked anymore. So yeah, the results, yeah, it completely makes sense why the brand mentioned that they're not happy with the results, that they're not getting any new customers, and that like the brand has been declining over the last 12 months. They have 80% returning customers. So the product is great. People love the product, and that's why the brand only declined 14%, but the new customer acquisition is not working at all. I mean, we've already seen, like in the last video, I already walked over the Google Ads setup, and it already wasn't great. Like with the Google Ads setup, they also weren't targeting any any new audiences, and it was primarily just like retargeting and showing the ads to the same people over and over again that are already searching for the brand and looking for the products from that specific brand online. And I mean, here on Meta, it's even worse. On Meta, they're spending more. Like over the last 30 days, they've spent $35,000, and it's not getting them any results. Like it's unbelievable. Like I can't believe what some agencies what some agencies do, what kind of work they provide. And yeah, I mean, the brand has been working with this agency for 2 or 3 years, and for me, it's just like a complete scam. What they have been doing, like there's no other way to say it. I mean, the complete setup is just a mess. Like it's an unbelievable mess. But at the same time, they're just not getting results, not getting any results, and still running like ads from the beginning of the year, like New Year's campaigns, New Year's ads. I'm pretty sure if I would go into every single campaign, it would be even worse. Like here we see October 2024 new ads. Like I'm pretty sure they're still just running like ads from the October 2024. And yeah, they have about 20 active campaigns. All of those use ABO, like ad set budget optimization. And in total, it's more than 300 different ad sets. And most of those ad sets have a budget of like $1 to maximum $5 per day. So if you look at the just all the ad sets, we see that most of them, like most of the active ad sets, don't get any meaningful results because all of them have like a $2 to $3 ad spend. Like, I mean, I can just continue scrolling through it. And here, like this ad set has spent $60 over the last 30 days, no purchases, $60, no purchases, $60, no purchases. And I can just keep scrolling, keep going through it, like $2 per day ad sets, $5 per day ad sets, $1 per day ad sets, $5 per day ad sets, and it's just a complete mess. Like, yeah, they're not following any best practices. Meta, like, no matter who you would ask, like, this account is doing everything wrong possible. And it's unbelievable. Even just looking at our 100K Meta Ads blueprint, and that's basically our resource, how to scale an ad account on Meta to 100K per month in ad spend. And just starting with an example of an account with a zero structure, and it just reminds me of that. Like that was another account that I audited a while back, and we just see there were like hundreds of different campaigns that were all like spending money, all had like decent ad spend. And with that campaign structure, it was like, in terms of the structure, it was a bigger mess, but at the same time, they were at least getting some better results and acquiring some new customers. But this just reminds me of that. And this is an example of how an ad account with a structure should look like. So here we have an account that had almost 1 million in ad spend, and that's across 4 different campaigns. And all of those campaigns had a clear target, clear goal in terms of why we had that campaign, why the campaign was there. We used no ABO, like no ad set budget optimization. It was all campaign budget optimization for maximum efficiency. And with that million in ad spend, we had an overall 4.59 return on ad spend and generated over 4 million euros in sales, in revenue. And yeah, with the current account structure, there would be no way for the client, for the account, for the brand to scale to 100K per month in ad spend and more without not getting any results. I mean, even with 35K per month, they're already not getting any results, and they want to scale to 150K per month in ad spend, but they knew that with the current setup, with the current results, they're not able to get there. So this is why they asked me to look at the account. To summarize, here are the main findings from this account. So in terms of the tracking, it was fine. Like compared to everything else, the tracking is good. The event match quality can be improved. Like the signals are a little bit low, but like seeing everything else, it's just like a minor issue that will not make a huge difference compared to everything else. The big problem is definitely the structure of the account. Excessive fragmentations, like hundreds of ad sets. The frequency is extremely high in almost all of the audiences. 40% of the budget is hitting existing customers at a high frequency. With that, like campaigns can't even exit the learning phase where you need 30 to 50 conversions per week. And with some clients, it's difficult to hit that target because they have a very high AOV. Like one new customer, like they need to spend $1,000 to acquire a new customer, and their budget might not be that high yet. But with this brand, like the AOV is low, it's easy to acquire new customers, and they already have decent budget, so it's easy to hit that kind of goal. A bunch of old ads are still live. Like with that, they're just not relevant at all. New Year's ads in September. I mean, what else should I say? They don't use any collaborator ads, which again is great for a brand like that. They have a lot of influencers, a lot of content creators, and collaborator ads are the ones where you partner up with an influencer and run the ads through their account, and that usually improves the performance and improves the results even further. The click-through rates are crazy low, like from the conversion campaigns, purchase campaigns, most of them are below 0.3%, which is one of the lowest, I think even the lowest I've ever seen. In terms of the creative system, there's definitely an imbalance between like studio production and authentic UGC creator content. They barely have any top of the funnel assets. They have some, but those are not tied to the brand or the product. They're just showing like people exercising basically and not tying it to the brand or the product. But at the same time, the current assets are just primarily bottom of the funnel and keep targeting like the same people over and over again, and are just boring. With that, like the CPMs have been increasing, the click-through rate is crazy low. With the attribution, like 7-day click plus 1-day view, the results, as I shared, look decent at first glance, but then breaking it down, looking into other attribution windows, we see that the results are actually very, very bad, very low, and they're artificially inflated. They look better than they are, and at the same time, they don't get any net new customer growth. So what is the blueprint to fix all of that? So first of all, consolidate into a few purpose-built campaigns, not have those 20 different campaigns, ideally 3 to 5 different campaigns with clear reasons why there are those campaigns, with clear targets, clear goals for the campaign. Then exclude the purchases, like 180 to 365 days, or even all purchases from existing from the prospecting campaigns, from the most of the campaigns, because right now the purchase, like the existing purchases, see the ads over and over and over again, and the retention of the brand is already really good, already really high. So we don't need to do that. Maybe completely stop advertising to existing customers, or just on a very low budget, and therefore also on a low frequency, because no one wants to see the same ads over and over again 100 times every single month. Then they definitely need a creative testing operating system. So basically a system that allows them to test different angles, formats, hooks, different types of ads, product demos, reasons to believe, social proof, collabs, all of those things, and really like have a feedback loop that shows them what works, what doesn't work, and how can we improve, how can we get better results. Because right now, basically it looks like the agency just threw everything at the wall and launched like hundreds, if not thousands, of different ads, and just keeps all of them running at like $1 per day budget, and it's not doing anything. That is not the way to improve and scale an account. Then they definitely should deploy collaborator ads with like different ambassadors, content creators, influencers. Actually, the marketing manager told me that they wanted to do collab ads, but the agency didn't know how to do them, how to set them up, and how to do those kind of ads where you run them through a partner account, through a content creator's Instagram account. And then also just clean up the tracking, the measurement, the reporting, and also look at like 7-day click attribution, 1-day click attribution to really measure the real impact of the ads. and not optimize based on some vanity metrics or some artificially inflated numbers that Meta is showing. With all of that, I think the brand has a great opportunity. There is so much that they can do. And even with the terrible setup, they've been able to get at least decent results and have been able to stay consistently at about 200K per month in revenue. There was some decline over the last 12 months, but not much. So I'm very, very confident that with the right setup, with the right account structure, campaign structure, with the right creative system, with the right ads, we'll be able to completely crush it for them and get them to their goals, be able to increase the ad spend to 100, 150, 200K per month in ad spend. And yeah, get them a bunch of new customers profitably. So I hope that was valuable. I hope that was interesting. If you have any questions, if you want me to dive deeper into anything specific, shoot a comment down below. Otherwise, I appreciate you watching and see you soon. Bye. If you are a 7-figure founder or on track to become one, you've probably felt this. Your customer acquisition costs are climbing, your return on ad spend is shrinking, and you've probably wondered, are Meta and Google ads even still worth it? The truth is, most brands are still running their ads like it's 2021. They're stacking narrow interests, only relying on the pixel, and maybe uploading 5 new creatives a month, praying that something sticks. That old playbook is broken. That's why so many founders are stuck between 50K to 100K per month and can't break through that ceiling. But there's a new way. This is the system that took my client AlgoRx from 70K per month to over 260K per month in only 6 months at a 7 to 10x blended return ad spend. And it's the same system that helped another client, Nooktails, scale from 30K per month to 500K per month in only 70 days. And it's the same system that scaled my client Bololo from 158K to 1.5 million at a 5.4x return on ad spend. If you don't know me, I'm Andrej Tomachovic, founder of HoloGrowth. We have a system designed specifically for brand scaling to 7 and 8 figures in 2026, especially for those wanting to hit that 1 million per month mark. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how this new way of running meta ads will not only reduce your customer acquisition cost, but also boost your return ad spend, your profitability, and allow you to scale your ads to completely new heights. And I'll prove it to you in the 3 key tactics. Let's get brutally honest why most brands are not able to scale. It's usually not an issue of the product or that the market is too competitive. It's usually that those brands are stuck in the old way of running their ads. You've got dozens of interest stacks, completely random lookalike audiences, and the campaigns are crazy segmented, which might look sophisticated, but it just confuses the algorithm and the advertiser and the founders of the brand, and no one really knows what's going on in the ad account. You're only using the pixel as tracking, and you only have that one data source based on which you make all the decisions, and you're not cross-checking it with Google Analytics, internal dashboards, or a third-party tracking tool, which leads to you making decisions based on numbers that don't even reflect the reality. You're chasing completely vanity metrics like in-platform return on ad spend. On paper, it might look like you're profitable or that you make money, but at the end of the month, you figure out that you actually are losing money and the ads are not profitable. I've seen so many brands make those mistakes that they think in-platform return ad spend is everything that matters, when in reality it doesn't correlate to the real business metrics. Then you're only uploading a couple of random creatives every single month and just hoping that something works, without having a real creative strategy, knowing what works, knowing what doesn't, and a creative system, a creative engine that is able to help you pump out a lot of new creatives that convert on a consistent basis and really have a scientific testing approach to know how to scale. And lastly, you're blind scaling. You're basically just throwing more budget at the campaigns, hoping that it works, hoping that you get a good return ad spend, and you might see a short spike in sales, a short spike in performance, but after that, it just crashes down. And you don't have any clear guardrails in terms of what your customer acquisition cost has to be like, what your break-even return ad spend has to be like, and you're not able to scale predictably. Does this sound familiar? And here's the thing. A great product isn't enough. Your customers might love the products, you have a strong NPS score, 4.9 ratings, and you're still not profitable. You're still not able to grow the brand. You need to have a system that allows you to get that product into more people's hands. Your return ad spend is decreasing. This old playbook is the reason why most brands' return ad spend has been declining and the customer acquisition costs have been increasing. It's why many founders feel like they're hustling harder and harder, but the revenue just stays flat. And if you've ever thought, maybe the problem is just me, maybe my brand or my product is not good enough, let me just stop you there. The problem isn't your brand or your product. It's the system you're using. Now, if you're serious about getting to 1 million per month with your ecom brand, here's how I can help. We'll build you a completely free 90-day scaling roadmap. A tailored plan that will show you exactly how you can scale and get your brand to 1 million per month in revenue. It's a complete deep dive where we go into your business, analyze every single aspect of it, find hidden growth opportunities, and lay out a plan that exactly shows you how you can get to the next level. Some brands just take this roadmap and decide to go with it by themselves. Others decide to work with us and help us implement it. Either way, you walk away with a clear, profit-first path to growth. Click the link in the description to book a quick call with me and get your free roadmap. Anyways, back to the video. Let's start with pillar 1. You need to measure. If there's one truth I've learned after scaling dozens of e-commerce brands, is that you can't scale what you can't measure. Most ecom founders I speak to have exactly the same frustrations. They don't trust their numbers. They have completely misaligned reports. Shopify shows one thing, Google Analytics another thing. The platform's a completely different story, and they don't even know what to trust. And in the end, they have no clue about the profits, and they're wondering, are those ads even profitable? Am I even acquiring new customers profitably? And here's why this is so bad. This data fog is dangerous. If you can't see clearly, you'll make scaling decisions based on broken data, based on wrong data. And that's how your customer acquisition cost skyrockets and you end up not being profitable. So how do we fix this? We start with measurement that protects profits. So here's why tracking will get you to 1 million per month in revenue. The HoloGrowth tracking framework. So first of all, we don't rely on the pixel alone. We implement server-side conversion API to make sure that every event is cleanly captured and reported. This already massively helps with the accuracy and with us seeing which ads and which conversions are actually getting results and which ones are actually profitable. Then we make sure to cross-check everything with Google Analytics or GA4 because Meta oftentimes massively inflates their numbers and they want the conversion events in their platform to look as good as humanly possible, obviously. So you spend more money with them. So we cross-check everything with GA4 to make sure that we get a reality check. Then for each brand we're working with, we set up the so-called North Star metrics. Those are the most important metrics that we optimize everything for and that we track on a daily basis to make sure we're scaling and growing profitably. Those North Star metrics should usually be blended numbers, so not something where you only rely on the tracking and the in-platform data, but where you take like whole business metrics and numbers that are 100% accurate and 100% true, and then you optimize based on that. For us, it's usually the marketing efficiency ratio, or also MER. Some people also call it blended return on ad spend. It's when you take all the revenue divided by all the ad spend across all marketing platforms. And then you find out what your marketing efficiency ratio is. And with that, we just know how overall profitable is the brand and how efficient is our marketing completely overall without having to rely on in-platform tracking or any inaccurate numbers. Because you will always know 100% accurate how much revenue you had, like how much revenue, how many sales there were on your Shopify site or wherever. And at the same time, you will also know exactly how much you spent on the paid ads. Like Meta or Google will never show you the wrong number in terms of what you have spent. So you can take those two real and accurate numbers and just divide them to really know how profitable you are overall. The second North Star metric should be your blended customer acquisition costs or new customer acquisition cost. That's basically that you take all the new customers that you acquired, all the new customers that you received over last week, for example, and divide it by the total ad spend. And then you know how much you in total spent on paid ads and paid marketing to acquire a new customer. And with that, you can calculate whether the new customer was worth it to the business, whether you're scaling profitable, or whether you're just losing money. Then you definitely need to have the guardrails in. You have to know exactly what your break-even return on ad spend and your break-even customer acquisition cost is. So basically how much you can spend and how aggressive you can scale without ending up losing money, because that will dictate how much you can increase the ad spend and how far you can go without starting to lose money for the business. For that, you also need to know the contribution margin and the first order profitability to basically calculate whether you're acquiring new customers profitably and whether you make money right away with every new customer right away, or whether you lose money on the customer acquisition and then potentially get it back with the customer lifetime value and with those customers coming back. Usually we recommend and we prefer being first order profitable. So with every new customer that we acquire, immediately being profitable for the brand, because obviously, there is the customer lifetime value and a lot of customers come back, but you never really know for sure. There are a lot of brands where the LTV is the real driver of profit, but it's very unpredictable. You can't pay your team based on revenue that will potentially come in the next 6 months. And obviously, there are some exceptions to these rules and some brands that really can only scale with their LTV and with the customers coming back. But for most brands, the ideal scenario, the ideal outcome is that you are profitable on the first order, you acquire new customers profitably, and then if they come back, it's great, it's an additional bonus, it's additional profit for the brand, but we don't want to be completely reliant on that, because something could always happen, something could go wrong, and for some reason those customers suddenly don't come back, and if like your whole business depends on the customers coming back and the LTV recuperating the advertising costs, it's just way more risky. So if we can avoid that, we should do that. Take AlgoRx, for example. When they came to us, they were basically scaling blindly. They didn't have proper tracking set up and they didn't know how profitable they are and how much they can scale. So we fixed their tracking completely with server-side conversion API and Google Analytics cross-checks. And we realized that there were actually quite a lot of inefficiencies. So we cut the waste, redirected it into the profitable campaigns, and were able to scale them from 70K per month to over 260K per month in the first 6 months of working together, while also hitting an above 7x blended return ad spend, even as high as a 10x blended return ad spend in some of the months. That's the power of measurement that protects profit. So here are the things that you need to fix to hit 1 million per month. If you're scaling with broken data, you're not alone. 95% of the brands that we audit have at least one of these issues, and they're still able to scale to 1 million per month in revenue. Duplicate or missing events, no MER benchmarks, optimizing to vanity return ad spend, or relying on LTV instead of first order profit. And every single one of those problems pushes customer acquisition costs up and return ad spend down. But once you fix it, you can finally scale with confidence, because you're not just throwing money in the dark. You're scaling on real, reliable numbers. The second pillar of the new way is the account structure. Most brands that come to us have a completely messed up account and campaign structure. 10, maybe 15 different campaigns, sometimes hundreds of different ad sets and overlapping audiences, interests, random lookalike audiences, and no one really knows what's going on. No one really knows how to improve the ad performance, improve the account performance, and scale the account. Founders then tell me that they wanted to give meta options, or they wanted to manually control every single aspect of the ad account to get the best possible return on ad spend and get the best possible results. But in reality, all they've done is just completely confuse the algorithm, the advertiser, and completely stall the growth. And this chaos leads to the exact problems that you're probably facing right now. The customer acquisition costs creeping higher and higher every single month. The return ad spend might be looking strong in platform, but really weak in reality. And you're scaling budgets just to see the performance completely collapse a few days later. It is a big problem. But even when you add new campaigns, you're not actually growing. You're just cannibalizing your own campaigns. So what's the fix? We simplify. Also, if you're an ecom founder below 1 million per month, I have something that will help you get there. Below, I created a full meta ads guide that shows you exactly how to scale your ecom brand to 1 million per month. It is completely free and breaks down the exact tactics that I've used to scale over 50 e-commerce brands. Link is in the description below. Anyways, back to the video. Here's why account structure will get you to 1 million per month. The HoloGrowth account structure. We use a two-lane system that brings clarity, stability, and scale. One test campaign with CBO, usually completely broad targeting, where we test 3 to 5 new creative concepts every single week. We have strict spend rules and cut losers quickly and promote winners into the scaling campaign. A lot of brands still use ABO, and in some instances it might still work, it might still make sense. But if you want to have the best possible performance and get the best possible results, even your testing campaign should be on a CBO, on a campaign budget optimization, because that gives Meta some flexibility to really deliver and show the ads that people are most likely to be interested in and that people are most likely to buy from. So with that, you get the best possible performance. If you have the problem that Meta is not spending on new creative concepts and you want to make sure that Meta spends and force some spend on new creative concepts, you can still add a minimum budget for the ad set. So even while using CBO, you can still tell Meta that there is a minimum budget that they should spend on that ad set, on that creative concept. And with that, you give the creative still enough budget to test while still giving Meta the flexibility to put the majority of the budget into the winners and into the creatives that are working the best. And the second campaign is the scaling campaign. That one can be a CBO campaign or an Advantage Plus campaign based on which version of the Meta Ads dashboard you have and the latest update of Meta. But with this campaign, you only have 1 or 2 ad sets inside the campaign, usually only one. And there you put all the winning creatives in there. We usually recommend having 15 to 20 different creatives. Ideally, they should be as diversified as possible, so have completely different creative concepts and some static ads, some image ads, some video ads, some UGC, some product showcases, and also some carousel catalog ads. So basically, a mix of everything that you can show to give Meta as much room as possible to target different people in different stages of their buying journey and show them the ad that is most relevant for them and that is most likely to get them to buy something. Back in the days, it used to make sense to have different campaigns for top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. So people who have never heard of the brand, who maybe saw the brand before, visited the website, but have not bought before. And then people who are like on the verge of making the purchase. But nowadays, Meta does all of that automatically. You don't have to worry about it at all. You just give Meta all the different creatives, all the different winners that work, and Meta will automatically decide which ads to show to which people and how to get you the best possible results. And this system completely solves the growth plateau problem. So our repeatable cycle is basically just test creatives, find the winners, scale the winners. Problem solved. You're no longer throwing spaghetti at a wall. You're building a pipeline of creatives that fuel sustainable growth. So why does this matter? If you're stuck between 50K to 500K per month, you don't have a product problem. You have a systems problem. The old way of campaign chaos keeps you plateaued. The new way is a simple and repeatable account structure that positions you in the best possible position to scale to 7 and 8 figures. Now, obviously, there are some brands that need a more sophisticated account structure if they have completely different product categories, target completely different custom avatars, sell to different markets, different price points, and all of those things that just need more different campaigns and need a more sophisticated structure. But for the majority of the brands that we work with and that we talk to on a daily basis, this simple structure is enough to scale them to 1 million per month. With this structure, your Ecom brand will be changed completely. And once you lock that in, you'll never wonder again, should I launch another ad set? Should I test another interest stack, another audience split? You'll know exactly what to do. Test, scale, repeat. Pillar 3. Here's the truth. Creative is the campaign. You can have the perfect tracking setup, a clean account structure, but if your creative is not built for cold traffic, you'll never be able to scale profitably. Most brands make the same 2 problems over and over again. First of all, they don't upload enough new creatives and they don't test enough new creatives. They maybe upload a couple of new creatives every couple of weeks, some only like 1 or 2 creatives a month, some maybe 5 to 10 creatives per month, but definitely not enough volume. And second of all, they create content that is not converting. They rely on lifestyle photos or beautiful branded content that might look pretty, but is not getting results. And especially don't convert strangers. And strangers are exactly who you need to win. Because if you can't turn cold audiences into profitable customers on day 1, your customer acquisition costs will rise, your return ad spend will shrink, and your growth will stall and you'll not be able to scale your brand. So here's why you need a creative engine to get to 1 million per month. The HoloGrowth creative engine. So how do we fix this? We treat creatives as a machine, not as a one-off project. We have different frameworks that we use to sell to strangers, and every single ad that we launch follows one of these frameworks. As an example, problem, mechanism, proof, offer. We start with calling out the problem, the pain point that a potential customer might have. Then we show them the unique mechanism, how our product solves this problem and helps them get them closer to the dream state. Then we show them social proof and show them customer testimonials, customer reviews, how this product solved this problem with other people, ideally similar to them. And then we close with a strong, irresistible offer. And this framework is then paired up with formats that hook attention. So UGC demos that show the product in action, before and after comparisons, ASMR videos, 5 objections in 30 seconds breakdowns, expert teardowns, social proof montages. And then we build out a production cadence where every single week we ship out 5 new concepts with multiple iterations. We test in the test lane, promote winners into the scaling campaign, and keep iterating endlessly. If there's an ad that is not able to hook the attention and capture the attention of the right people right away, we kill it immediately. And in 2026, it's proof over story. Don't get me wrong, we love stories and storytelling is great at getting people to convert, but in 2026, it's not enough. Buyers want proof. We use quantified results, screenshots of customers, UGC, photos, client testimonials, everything that we can to show that our product works. And this engine ensures that you never run dry on creatives and always have content that turns completely cold traffic into profitable customers on day one, which is the single fastest way to reduce your customer acquisition costs and increase your return on ad spend. Now take Nooktails, for example, a home decor brand we partnered up with. They were at 30K per month in revenue and weren't able to scale through that plateau. No matter what they tried, they weren't able to grow. We came onto the team and rebuilt their entire creative strategy around our frameworks. The solution, we were able to scale from 30K per month to 500K per month in revenue in the first 70 days of working together. That's the difference that a cold-friendly creative engine makes. If you follow everything that I shared today, your customer acquisition costs will drop, your return on ad spend will rise, and you'll be one step closer to building the 1 million per month ecom brand. But if your campaigns are structured like chaos, you have overlapping audiences, fragmented ad sets, then you'll never unlock the full potential of your ad spend. That's why you need to watch the next video, where I break down a real brand's Meta Ads account and expose all of the mistakes that keep businesses stuck. Have you ever wondered why your Meta Ads flop during Black Friday? Here's the fix that top brands won't share. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Andre, founder of HoloGrowth. We help e-commerce brands scale profitably to 7 and 8 figures in revenue. And over the past few years, I've been in the trenches with over 50 different e-commerce brands, and I've seen firsthand what works and what doesn't work. And every Q4, I see exactly the same problem. Great brands completely overspend on Meta Ads during Black Friday, chasing return on ad spend instead of real profit. And they end up with high customer acquisition costs and crushed margins. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly how to hit $100,000 in profit during this Black Friday without just throwing more money at ads. Stay till the end, because missing this framework could cost you the biggest sales weekend of the entire year. Point 1. Craft irresistible Black Friday offers. Nail your cold traffic offer to drive volume. First, if you want to hit $100,000 in profit on Black Friday, you have to master cold traffic offers. Most e-commerce brands treat Black Friday like it's just another discount day, slashing prices and hoping for the best. And that is a huge mistake. Cold audiences are people who have never heard of your brand before, and they need more than just a 20% off discount code to buy from your brand. Especially during Black Friday, where everyone does huge discounts and where everyone just slashes prices to get as many new customers as possible. Here's what you can put into action right now to prepare for a massive Black Friday. First, urgency in offers. For Black Friday, you always have to think of urgency. Try something like a limited stock or limited offer. For example, for the first 500 customers that buy from your website on Black Friday, they get an additional product for free. Or You can also give some time-based urgency. So if someone buys in 24 hours during Black Friday, then they get an additional discount. 2, you should bundle up products and create bundle offers. Most e-commerce brands just slash prices, give a lot of discounts, and they end up with no profit margin at all. They might acquire a lot of new customers, but they're losing money. They're not making any profit on those customers that they're acquiring. Maybe the customers will come back at some point and will end up buying, and the customer lifetime value will make sense for the business, but you never know. And you don't want to just waste a lot of money, spend a lot of money during Black Friday, and then hope that it comes back in the next few months. So you should create so-called bundle offers, where you group multiple products together and discount those together. And then you can add additional bonuses, additional incentives to make it even more attractive. And that way, you have a high perceived value. Like for the customer, it looks like it's an amazing offer. There are a lot of things that they're buying together, and they're not just they're not just buying one product to fix their problem, their issue, but they buy a whole bundle. They buy a whole set that completely fixes the problem that they currently have. At the same time, that allows you to still have high profit margins, healthy profit margins, while you acquire new customers. So especially if you throw in some low-cost incentives, like some additional bonuses, for example, a free PDF, a recipe book, a guide, and all of those things that have a very low cost for you. They might even be free if it's just an ebook or something, or it's just very, very cheap, but they massively increase the perceived value for the customer. So you can still have a high average order value and high profit margins, while the offer is still way more attractive than just a basic 20% off discount code. And for that, you need to know your numbers. We had one brand that was always doing a generic 20% or 30% off, but we realized, looking at the numbers, looking at their costs and how many products the people are on average buying, we realized that at the same time, with the same profit margins, they could offer a way, way more attractive offer. They could do something like buy 2 products and get 3 products for free. So basically get 5 products for the price of 2 products. And they had the same profit margins with that insane offer, just because based on their cost of the goods sold and their customer acquisition cost, it was like they made the same money in the end. And obviously the offer, like buy 2, get 3 for free, is way more enticing, way more attractive than just giving a bland 30% off discount code. And then number 3, you should integrate social proof into your offer. You should have different videos addressing the key objections and have an FAQ that handles all the objections that your customers might have. Social proof is really crucial to make sure that you can convert cold traffic into customers, especially if it's a higher average order value product and you're selling something for more than just $50. You have to make sure that you have a lot of social proof. It's not just enough to have some basic reviews. You need to have video testimonials, video reviews, photos, UGC, ideally even authority-based social proof. So PR, like magazines that talked about it, or famous influencers that used the products and reviewed those products. And you have to make sure that you show all of that. You should show that in the ads, in the content, on the product page, everywhere. Like when a customer sees your ads, sees your product, goes on the site, they should immediately be completely overwhelmed with the amount of social proof that you have. And you need a lot of social proof to be able to hit $100,000 per day in profit. Before launching a Black Friday offer, you should ideally make sure that you test different acquisition offers before. You can't just put all your hopes and dreams on one new customer acquisition offer. Ideally, you start weeks in advance and you test 3 to 5, ideally even 10 different new customer offers, and you see what works the best, what converts the best, what sticks the best, what do customers really like, what do they end up buying, how much are they spending with you. And you need to know all of those metrics to really figure out what the best new customer acquisition offer is that you can run during Black Friday. If it's already too late and Black Friday is already coming up, you can also just run multiple offers during Black Friday. Like you don't have to stick to one offer. You can start with multiple offers and then see which converts the best, which gets you the best customer acquisition cost and the best return on ad spend. And then you just scale that and turn off everything else. You have to make sure that you really have an irresistible offer that just screams value. Take a page from how we scaled Nooktails from 30K per month to over 500K per month in only 70 days during last year's Black Friday. We took their hero product and bundled it with high margin add-ons. Additionally, we put on a 30-day satisfaction guarantee, a 30-day money-back guarantee to increase the perceived value and decrease the risk for the potential customer. And that allowed us to scale the meta ads from 0 to over 5K per day in ad spend at a profitable return on ad spend, at profitable new customer acquisition. And we got them to over $500,000 in revenue in just 70 days of us partnering up. Quick pause. If you are worried your meta ads won't hold up this Q4, I've got something special for you. My custom 90-day scaling roadmap is a personalized growth plan where I dive deep into your ad accounts, your funnels, your metrics to spot leaks before the biggest sales season. We have used this to scale brands like Bololo from 160K per month to 1.5 million per month in revenue. Want clarity and a profit-first strategy before the rush? Click the link in the description and book a free session with me. But let's get back to the framework. Point 2, build a scalable meta ad structure. Your meta ad structure has to be built for scale during Black Friday. Most brands throw money at ads without a clear plan, and their CPAs just skyrocket when traffic spikes. You just can't afford that on a high-stakes day like Black Friday. Let's break down the exact steps that you can take to build a perfect meta ad structure. Start by segmenting your audiences. Have different ads, different messaging, different creatives based on different people, based on different stages of their buying journey. If someone is completely broad, has no idea what your brand is not even problem aware, or is problem aware but not solution aware, you want to have completely different content and completely different ads to target those people than those who have already heard of your brand before, or who are problem aware, solution aware, but just don't know which product to get and whether your product is the right product for them or whether they want to go with one of the competitors. You need to make sure that you have different content for each of those audience segments. The majority of your focus should be on broad, top of the funnel audiences. So people who have never heard of the brand before and people who are not interested in it right now. You need to create content and ads that are targeting a lot of people. And obviously, you still don't just want to talk to everyone. Like, you don't want to just create content that speaks to everyone. You want to make sure that you call out the right people with the right problem and then get them to watch the content, get them interested, get them hooked. And then you also need to have content and ads for the different stages of the buying journey. So middle of the funnel, if someone is in the consideration stage, so maybe they know your brand, maybe they know that they want a product like yours, but they don't know like which one to get yet. They're still researching, still comparing, and you want to have content for that, like objection handling content, social proof content, and different use cases for your products. All of those things that just help for the consideration stage. And then also for the bottom of the funnel, people who are like on the verge of buying, they're just waiting for the right moment, the right offer. That's where you want to give them that irresistible offer where they can't do anything else than just buy right now, especially with the urgency that you added in there. Like, they have to buy right now. Otherwise, they will not get the additional benefit. The stock will run out. The offer will disappear. That's how you make sure that you target each segment of the audience properly. Nowadays, with Meta, you don't need to have different campaigns for each different audience segment. Like back in the days, you had a bottom of the funnel campaign, a middle of the funnel, and a top of the funnel campaign. And you would exclude the different audiences from those and have different ads in each campaign. But nowadays, Meta's algorithm does all of that automatically. You don't have to worry about segmenting the campaigns by audiences, but you still want to make sure that you have content and have ads for the different segments of the audiences. That way, Meta's algorithm will automatically know who is like bottom of the funnel, middle of the funnel, top of the funnel, and they will automatically show the right content to the right people at the right time. Step 2, you want to make sure that you do a lot of creative testing and dynamic testing. You want to make sure you have different headlines, different copies, different creatives. I mentioned already, you need to have the different content for the different audience segments, but even going inside the segments, you want to have a lot of different content, a lot of content variety. Back in the days, it was enough to have one ad, maybe have 10 different headlines on it, and it would work. Like, you would take the same image creative, you would just make small tweaks, small changes to the headline, and that would be enough to have a completely different ad, completely different creative. Nowadays, it doesn't work that way. Again, Meta is consolidating everything. Meta wants to make sure that you have a lot of creative variety, diversity, and therefore you want to make sure that you test as many different ads as possible. You can't just make small tweaks, small changes. It has to be completely different advertising angles, completely different advertising styles. So you can test some different UGC content, some different product demos, some testimonials, some aesthetic videos, some FAQs, and all of those completely different styles of creatives. And then you want to see which style of creative works best. Obviously, based on that, you can iterate, you can create new, more, and better content around that. But especially in the beginning, you want to have as many different types of ads as possible. Not as many different variants of one specific type, but as many different types of creatives. Part 3 is the budget management and the scaling. Ideally, you should start pretty small if you're launching the campaigns before Black Friday and you have some time. You should start them low and then scale them up. You will see what works, and then on a daily basis, you increase the budgets by 20% every single day until it breaks, until you suddenly see that the profitability goes down and that the ads are not performing as good as they should be. If you're already launching on Black Friday, you don't have that time to do that. You have to be way, way more aggressive. You need to go inside the campaigns with a high budget and risk it, because otherwise you'll not have enough time to scale up. And on the day of Black Friday, everyone tries to spend a lot of money on meta ads. And if you just start to scale up the budget on the day of Black Friday, you will not be able to spend enough. Even if you 10x the budget in the middle of the day, Meta will not spend all of it. Meta will just not be able to spend it because in the beginning you had a lower budget. That's what Meta planned for. And then if you scale it up, Meta will not spend everything. So you have to go into it with a high budget already, and then obviously keep track of it, look at it on an hourly basis, and then make changes on it on an hourly basis. Sometimes with some brands, we're as aggressive that on an hourly basis, we look at all the metrics, we look at the performance, we look at whether the customer acquisition cost is profitable. And then if it is, we double the budget. The next hour, we look at it again, we double the budget. And we keep doing that, keep scaling up crazy aggressively until it doesn't work anymore, until it breaks. And then at the end of the day, if it's just one day of Black Friday, then we scale back again before we go to sleep, because otherwise you will spend a lot of money and it can be very risky and you can lose out on a lot of money. Obviously, as I mentioned, Meta will not spend all of the budget. So if you keep doubling the budget on an hourly basis, Meta will not spend all of it, but you want to make sure that you spend as much as you can if it's profitable and that you get the most out of that day as possible. That's how we take some brands from a daily average of 5 to 10K per day to suddenly 100K, 150K in revenue in one single day, just by ramping up the ad spend and being very, very aggressive. And number 4, you have to make sure that you focus on the profitability. Especially if you scale up that aggressively and you want to be as aggressive, you have to make sure that you're first order profitable. You can't just look at the in-platform metrics. You can't just look at the cost per acquisition and the return on ad spend that Meta is reporting. You have to look at the back end, at the real numbers, at the real business metrics, and figure out whether you're still acquiring new customers profitably and whether you can afford spending more, spending 10 times the budget and still be healthy, be cash flow positive. If an ad suddenly doesn't work, if a campaign breaks, if it doesn't acquire new customers profitably, you have to cut it. You have to reduce the budget or pause the campaign, cut the ad, because otherwise you will lose money. This structure ensures that you handle Black Friday volume without bleeding cash. If you want to access the exact playbooks that we use for our clients during Black Friday, I've got something special for you. My free Meta Ads Playbook breaks down the exact step-by-step strategies from real 7- and 8-figure brands, backed by over 50 million in ad spend. It's completely packed with tactics to structure winning Q4 campaigns, and it's completely free. Click the link below to grab it now. But let's wrap this up with the final piece. Point 3. Master real-time data for Black Friday wins. Finally, to make 100K during Black Friday, you must use data to pivot fast. Black Friday isn't a set it and forget it event. Traffic and competition completely spike, and what works at 9 a.m. might completely tank by noon. Brands must check their metrics on an hourly basis to avoid losing thousands. That's how we scaled AlgoRx from 70K per month to 500K per month in revenue in 10 months at a 10x blended return on ad spend. Using data in real time ensures you maximize every dollar spent while it matters the most. Here's exactly what you need to do. Use your Meta Ads dashboard in combination with the Shopify dashboard, or even tools like Triple Whale, Polar Analytics, or anything like that to track your marketing efficiency ratio and your blended customer acquisition cost in real time. If your marketing efficiency ratio or your blended customer acquisition cost drops below the break-even point, you have to pause underperforming ads or you have to make changes to the campaigns. Then you want to focus on first order return ad spend and achieve first order profitability. Obviously, there are some brands that are not able to do that. There are some brands that want to play the LTV game and acquire a new customer and then get them to pay back the customer acquisition cost in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. And that's fine. But for you, especially if you want to scale very, very aggressively and if you're cash flow constrained, you want to make sure that you track first order profitability and you track the first order return ad spend and you are first order profitable. If a campaign isn't profitable on day one, you don't want to hope for LTV to save it. You need to cut losses fast to protect your budget. And then you have to make sure that you check data frequently. On Black Friday, you should at least look at the numbers, look at the data every 3 to 4 hours. Ideally, every single hour. Then you can scale up the winners, either by 20 to 30%, or if you want to be really aggressive, even by doubling them. And you have to kill the losers without hesitation. Obviously, on Meta, there's the learning phase. And if you increase the budget too much, you'll disrupt the learning phase and whatever. But during Black Friday, that doesn't count. Black Friday is war mode. And you want to be as aggressive as possible. And you don't just want to scale the budget by 20% every 3 to 4 days. No, we want to double it every single hour if the profit margins are there and if the performance is there to justify it. This agility and looking at your ad account and your metrics on an hourly basis makes sure that you get the most out of your ad spend and you don't waste anything and you also don't underspend during the Black Friday. So there you have it. 3 key lessons to make 100K in profit during Black Friday with your Meta ads. First, nail your cold traffic offer with irresistible bundles, urgency, and social proof. Second, structure your Meta ads with audience segmentation, a lot of testing, and with the structure that can handle a lot of scaling. And finally, leverage data to pivot on the day itself fast. These steps, rooted in what works for brands like Bololo, AlgoRx, or Nooktails, can transform your Black Friday from wasting a lot of money to having a profit explosion. And I'm talking about getting so many sales that your fulfillment center will completely break down. You'll be overwhelmed with the sheer amount of orders and customers that you're getting. And you'll probably get some bad reviews on Trustpilot because people don't get the orders on time. The support isn't able to handle all of them. And I'm talking out of experience. That already happened to 2 of our clients Black Friday last year. And if you implement everything, it might also happen to you. And if you want to push those results even further and turn a winning weekend into $1 million scaling plan, stick around for another Black Friday video. Click to watch now, and let's keep building your growth. The most important day for all ecom brands is coming up fast. Black Friday. Last year, US shoppers spent more than $9 billion in just 24 hours. And those are real hard numbers. But the real question is, are you ready to dominate Black Friday? Or are you going to watch all of your competitors make all the money? If you don't know me, I'm Andrej Tomachowicz, founder of HoloGrowth. Over the past few years, I've helped scale brands like Bololo and go from 158K to over 1.5 million per month in revenue. Or brands like Nooktails go from 45K per month to over 500K per month in revenue in only 70 days, as well as dozens of others. And in this video, I'm going to give you the exact playbook to dominate Black Friday with Meta ads and Google ads. Not only to get you one good sales day, but to help you push your brands towards the 1 million per month milestone. Because that's what we're all about on this channel, getting you that 1 million per month mark. Here's the truth. Most brands completely fumble this opportunity. They make the same silly mistakes I see over and over. They pump cash into creatives without proper testing. They launch completely new creatives, completely new offers on Black Friday without having a proper structure before and without being able to test what works and what doesn't. Their mobile site just completely crashes on Black Friday and they see their customer acquisition costs go up, their return ad spend go down, and profitability just tanks. And customers end up buying from someone else, someone who actually had a plan. I've seen it happen hundreds of times. Black Friday needs a system. And it's why so many founders feel capped at 50 to 100K per month in revenue. But the good news is, Black Friday doesn't have to be chaos. If you go in with a system, it could be the moment where your brands gets through the revenue plateau. We had so many brands that were stuck at a certain revenue level. It might be 50K, it might be 100K, it might be 500K per month. And we used the opportunity of Black Friday to get them through that plateau, get them to completely new heights in terms of revenue, and then be able to keep the revenue higher than it was before, higher than the baseline. And they were able to massively scale their brand. And that's exactly what we're going to cover. A 3-step framework to dominate Black Friday, avoid all of the common pitfalls, and have a clear roadmap to continue scaling after the Black Friday weekend. At HoloGrowth, we use what I call the holistic 3-layer growth system. It's the same framework that helped my client Globetrotter grow 40% year over year, and it's the exact same framework that will allow you to have the most profitable Black Friday ever. Here's how it works step by step. Step 1, pre-Black Friday funnel prep. Why timing matters. The brands that win Black Friday don't start in November. They start weeks, sometimes even months in advance. You need time to build hype, warm up your leads, prep the funnels. Waiting until November means showing up late to the party. You will have to come up with the offers, the creatives, prep the funnel, check the landing pages, optimize everything, test everything, all at the same time, and you'll not have enough time and enough bandwidth to do all of that. And that means you'll not get the best possible results. You should use meta video ads with quick attention-grabbing hooks and quick teasers to make sure you can build up the hype in advance. You should target broad audience and potentially even retarget some website visitors, but those who didn't buy, to make sure that they know that there is something coming up soon. On Google, you should already line up search campaigns for terms related to Black Friday. So Black Friday offers, Black Friday products related to your industry, your product category. There are early planners, people that are already searching for those things right now, and you should be the brand that they find. And then there's obviously your site. Page speed, mobile checkout, clarity. If all of those things aren't flawless, you're just leaving money on the table. I've watched brands lose tens of thousands, sometimes even hundreds of thousands of dollars just because their checkout lags a couple of seconds. The pro move is also to capture emails early. Start building out a bigger email list for Black Friday. Offer a sign-up discount or an exclusive early access to the Black Friday sale. And make sure to tease your deals to that specific list weeks in advance of the event. By the time Black Friday hits, you'll have a warmed up list of people willing to make the purchase, not only for that one-day spike, but also as the foundation for your 1 million per month brand. Step 2, Black Friday ad blitz. When the day hits, you go all in. On Meta, lean heavy into dynamic product ads. At the same time, you should be continuously running your best performing creatives. There's no reason to, during Black Friday, turn off your evergreen ads and your highest performing creatives. We usually see that the creatives that perform best not during the Black Friday, they will suddenly perform even better and even significantly stronger during the Black Friday period. If you can tweak them and make some small changes to make them Black Friday centric and make sure that you can add the offer to the evergreen best performing creatives, even better. But at the same time, still make sure to keep the existing one running. The one with all the social proof, all the engagement, all the history, and just keep that one running. And at the same time, launch additional Black Friday ads on top of that. Test as many different creatives as possible. Ideally, you should have done that weeks in advance and not on the day of Black Friday. But on Black Friday, make sure that you can scale the winners, ditch what doesn't work. During Black Friday, everyone is in hyperactive buying mode. Everyone wants to get the best deals, find the best things, and spend as much money as humanly possible. And therefore, there's no reason to only target people who have previously visited the site. You should make sure to target those and show them the ads as often as humanly possible. But at the same time, target completely new people and expand your funnel and not only limit it to a small audience that you already have. On top of that, the ads should make the deadline crystal clear. Make sure that they have as much urgency and scarcity as possible and show that, for example, there's only 24 hours left, only a few hours left, or the offer ends at midnight on Monday. Make sure that there is a clear deadline and that the customers see that they have to place the order now, they have to make the purchase now, otherwise they'll not be able to get that deal. On Google, make sure to add the promotion to as many assets, as many ads as humanly possible. Add the promotion extension to the whole account. Make sure that you switch out the headlines comments and the descriptions to show the offer, show the promotion. Make sure to add a countdown to the ads, to the search ads that shows how long the promotion is still running. Then on the Google Shopping ads, make sure that you optimize the listings and add to the listings that there is a Black Friday promotion going on. We use Data Feed Watch as our feed management tool, and we are able to edit the titles, the descriptions, and the images of the products dynamically. And we want to make sure that we show the promotion, show the offer as clearly as humanly possible so that everyone really sees it and that our listings and our ads really stand out compared to what everyone else is doing. And you obviously have to watch your customer acquisition cost. The key is to watch your numbers like a hawk. If the customer acquisition cost goes too high, then you have to make changes and pivot. If the ads are performing well and if you're acquiring customers profitably, you should scale up as aggressively as possible. There is this rule on Meta that you shouldn't increase the budget by more than 20% every few days to not disrupt the learning phase. On Black Friday, that doesn't count. We want to be as aggressive as possible and do what is called blitz scaling or surf scaling and ramp up the budget as aggressively as possible. And when I say that, I mean that. On Black Friday, we oftentimes double the budget every few hours, like every 1 or 2 hours. We look at all the numbers, we see whether the customer acquisition cost is profitable, whether it's below our targets, and if yes, we double the budget. Then after 1 or 2 hours, we check the account again, we see is it still doing well? If yes, we double the budget. And that's how we can unlock massive scale and break the brands through ceilings that they've never seen before because we're so aggressive. And that's how we can get the brands those crazy results during Black Friday. The only problem with that is if you scale your budget so aggressively and increase it by so much, Meta will not even be able to spend all of it. That's why in the weeks coming up to Black Friday, you should already try to ramp up the ad spend as much as possible so that you don't have to 20x, 30x the budget on one single day. And you have to make sure that all the preparations are in place for you to be able to do that. And obviously, as soon as you notice that the customer acquisition cost is too high or that the ads are not profitable enough, you need to pivot. You need to kill what doesn't work. You have to scale back and make sure that you're scaling profitably. That's how you ride the wave profitably instead of sinking under it. Black Friday isn't the time for patience. It's wartime. Rapid testing, rapid scaling, and rapid cuts. You have to be aggressive or you'll just get buried in the noise. Step 3. Post Black Friday, retention and scaling. Now, here's where most brands mess up. They treat Black Friday as a finish line. It's not. It's the starting point for long-term growth. You have to retarget your Black Friday buyers with upsells and bundles. You need to push the customer lifetime value while you're still top of mind. You also need to set up Google remarketing for people who visited the website but didn't end up buying. Oftentimes, they're still comparing. You need to stay in their feed until they convert or at least until they remember your name. And you need to lock in customer loyalty with email. A simple thank you sequence plus a repeat purchase incentive like 10% off if they reorder in the next 7 days might be the difference between a one-time customer and a repeat customer that will become a raving fan of your brand and who will have a massive customer lifetime value. We use this exact approach with Bololo and scaled them to 1.5 million per month in revenue. Not because of one big sales day, but because we maximize the value of every new customer. Now, if you don't just want to survive Black Friday, but actually use it to scale your brand towards that 1 million per month mark, here's how we can help. At HoloGrowth, we put together a custom 90-day scaling roadmap for e-commerce brands. It's a 2-hour deep dive where I personally go through your ad accounts, your funnel, and your numbers. Together, we'll pinpoint exactly where you're leaking revenue and where the biggest opportunities for growth are. Some brands just take this roadmap and run with it by themselves, and others decide to work with us together to implement it. Either way, you walk away with a clear profit-first path to growth. Not a generic PDF, but a tailored action map for your brand. If you're ready for that, click the link in the description. Anyways, back to the video. Black Friday mistakes that can tank your sales. I now want to call out the top mistakes that tank sales on Black Friday so that you can avoid them and keep momentum going towards the 1 million per month target. Strategic testing drives e-com success. Brands drop tens of thousands of dollars on creatives that they haven't tested before and just hope that something sticks. They hope that something works. Whereas the winners, they test small, oftentimes weeks in advance of Black Friday to figure out what works and then double down on that. And they scale those winners. You have to make sure to be able to make quick, data-driven decisions. If your customer acquisition costs shoots above the break even, you have to make quick changes or even kill the campaign. Don't wait, don't hope. Hope is not a strategy. With AlgoRx, for example, we unlocked massive growth by making quick data-driven decisions and cutting the losers, cutting the waste that didn't work, and scaling what worked, scaling the winners. And that's how they went from 70K per month to over 300K per month in revenue in only 7 months. Mobile optimization is critical for conversion success. Even if your ads crush, you have the best creators in the world. If your website is not working and the mobile site is slow or not optimized, you'll just lose so much money. Over 60% of traffic is mobile, with some brands where it's even 70 or 80% of traffic that is mobile. If your site is slow or your checkout is clunky, you're done. We scaled night operators from 64K per month to 221K per month in revenue in only 2 months. And optimizing the mobile site was responsible for a huge part of that lift. Before we started working together, their mobile site wasn't optimized. The hero section had no clear USP, no social proof, no benefit-driven headline, and the call to action wasn't enticing at all. Implementing those changes allowed us to improve the conversion rate and with that increase the return on ad spend and decrease the customer acquisition cost. With that, we were able to scale more aggressively and 3.5x the brand's revenue in only 2 months. You have to make sure to test your website, test your funnel across multiple devices before the day hits. And then don't treat it like a one-day event. Too many brands just take the money and disappear. The ones who keep winning retarget those buyers, offer them upsells, cross-sells, bundles, and make sure that they come back to turn that spike into recurring revenue. That's how you build momentum towards an 8-figure brand and not just do a quick cash grab. If you're an e-commerce founder still under the 1 million per month mark, I've got something tailored for you that will help you break through that barrier. I've put together a full meta ads guide showing you the exact step-by-step to get your brand to 1 million per month in revenue. This guide is 100% free and it dives deep into the proven methods that I've used to scale over 50 different e-commerce brands to massive success. You can grab it right now. The link is in the description. Now, let's get back to the video. You've got the frameworks and you've got the mistakes to avoid. Now let's talk about the edge. Those extra moves that separate brands that just have a good Black Friday from the ones that set record-breaking months. If you're only running ads to a specific audience, if you're only using a specific attribution model, and if you're only running one offer across all of Black Friday, you're leaving money on the table. You should test different attribution models, like run campaigns with 1-day click, 7-day click, 7-day click plus 1-day view and incremental attribution to make sure you can really maximize the success and maximize the efficiency of your campaigns. On top of that, you should not just run one Black Friday offer. Ideally, you should test multiple offers in advance, see what is the most efficient, what is the most effective at acquiring new customers profitably, and then you should go all in on that. At the same time, right after Black Friday, there is Cyber Monday and then the gifting season. For those, you should have separate offers, different offers that shouldn't be better than Black Friday, but they should be different. For Maximilian Equestrian, implementing those strategies is what drove over 120% year-over-year growth. Then you have to layer in urgency across the whole funnel. Getting people to click is one thing. Getting them to buy is something entirely different. That's where urgency has to carry throughout the whole funnel. Add countdown timers on your landing pages. Add scarcity by showing the limited quantities left. For example, only 10 pieces left. You have to make sure though that scarcity and that urgency is real. Your customers don't want to find out that you just lied to them and that you just said there are only 10 pieces left and when in reality there were hundreds of products still left. That's not something that you want to do. You want to have a good relationship with your customers. You want to build a long-term business here, not just do a quick cash grab. So make sure you're honest. But just sprinkling in those urgency and scarcity triggers across your ads, your messaging, your website, your landing page, your checkout process. Those are all small details, small changes that lead to huge improvements in the conversion rate. And with that, you don't even have to say that it's limited stock. You don't have to say how much stock there is. Just showing that it's currently in stock automatically implies that it might be out of stock. It might not be always in stock. And that can improve your conversion rate. People move fast when they feel like time is running out. And that doesn't end once they click the ad. There were so many cases where we run a promotion for a certain period of time, let's say 7 days. And on the last day, we see a huge influx in sales. And in the last hour of the sale, we see another influx of sales. People want to buy when it's really, really urgent. They want to make sure that it's a last chance, and then they will place the order. Then they have to make that decision. They can't wait. They can't prolong it. So that's when they will buy. And then you have to make sure to leverage Performance Max on Google. Performance Max lets you run ads on Google Search, display, YouTube, video, shopping, and more with just one campaign. When optimized properly, it's a traffic machine. It's a customer acquisition engine. We use this with Couch House and hit a 9x return ad spend in just 3 months. Pair it with tight budget controls, daily optimizations, and you'll squeeze every drop of value out of the Black Friday rush. Why acting now is critical. Every founder tells themselves they'll get to it soon, but Black Friday doesn't wait. Your competitors are already planning campaigns, testing creatives, testing offers, building their lists. Every day you delay, they get further ahead. And when the sales rush hits, the gap only widens. So ask yourself, where do you want to be when the year closes? Still juggling high customer acquisition costs and flatlining growth, or hitting that 1 million per month mark? So that's the blueprint that I would use if I would be in your shoes this Black Friday. Follow these steps, avoid the common traps, and you'll set yourself up to push hard towards that 1 million per month milestone. But if you really want to make this work, you'll need more than just a Black Friday plan. You will need a funnel that actually captures the value of every single customer. That's exactly what I covered in this video. How to structure your funnel so that you're not only increasing return on ad spend on the front end, but also maximizing customer lifetime value on the back end. Are your Google ads burning through the budget without getting real returns? If you're a DTC owner watching CPAs skyrocket, margins shrink, then you're in the right place. And even if your CPAs aren't skyrocketing, I can guarantee that you'll be able to boost your return ad spend just from watching this video. I'll be breaking down the 3 most important lessons that have helped my ecom clients hit 1 million per month in revenue and will help you achieve the same. I'm Andre, founder of HoloGrowth, a growth agency for D2C ecom brands scaling to 1 million per month and beyond. In the last 12 months, I've audited hundreds of Google Ads accounts, driving more than 50 million in tracked revenue. The pattern is always the same. Rising ad costs, misscaling opportunities, and money left on the table. Today, I'm focusing solely on Google Ads because for many brands stuck at 50 to 500k per month in revenue, CPAs are just killing the momentum. And I have 3 easy fixes to get your ads working for you again. So first of all, why are your Google Ads so damn expensive? Before we go into fixing the issue, let's first try to understand why your ads are so expensive. Auditing hundreds of Google Ads accounts revealed 3 recurring issues. Problem 1, there is no brand and non-brand separation. You're paying a lot on branded searches when in reality, those people are already sold. And that just massively inflates cost and hides your acquisition performance. Problem 2 is weak targeting and missed exclusions. Showing ads to the wrong audience just wastes money on clicks that won't convert. And no creative or copywriting can fix poor targeting. And problem 3, your data is lying to you. Inaccurate tracking just means Google spends your budget on junk traffic, rising your CPAs by 10 to 30%. These silent killers drain your budget and block your path to 1 million per month, but they're fixable. Problem 1, you have to split branded and non-branded campaigns. This easy fix addresses a common mistake of not separating branded search and non-branded search campaigns, or even shopping campaigns. When someone searches for your brand, they're usually already sold, and you shouldn't pay premium CPCs for traffic that you would get anyways. I audited a supplement brand a couple of weeks ago that was making 180k per month in revenue, and their Google Ads return ad spend looked okay, I would say, at a 2.45 return ad spend. After digging into the data, looking into the numbers, I realized that 60 to 70% of that was branded search. So they were spending the majority of the budget, and almost all of the results that they were getting were from people who already know the brand, who were actively searching for the name of the brand. And chances are very, very high that those people would have bought anyways, whether the ad is there or not. And therefore, the brand was just wasting a lot of money for no incremental revenue. We found out that their new customer return ad spend, and not even that, the prospecting campaigns that were not primarily targeting branded search campaigns were losing so much money. They were not even nowhere near profitable, and the brand didn't even know that. They thought that the majority of the spend goes towards prospecting and new customer acquisition, and that overall they have a 2.45 return ad spend, when in reality 60 to 70% was branded search, and that massively inflated the numbers, inflated the return ad spend, where they thought they're profitable. They thought the Google Ads are working when in reality they weren't working at all. The fix for that is to create branded search campaigns and specific brand protection campaigns where you use exact match keywords to target people who are searching for your brand with low bids, and be very specific about how much budget you want to spend on those campaigns and how much you want to invest into branded search campaigns. And then the thing that the supplement brand was missing is you have to make sure to exclude all the branded terms from all the other campaigns. Make sure that every term that is related to your brand and people who are already searching for your brand, your products, and everything related to that are excluded from all the other campaigns. And I mean the search campaigns, the performance max campaigns, the shopping campaigns, from all of them. With the non-branded campaigns, you should be targeting problem keywords, product keywords, people searching for something generic, but not your branded terms. Implementing this strategy for Globetrotter, a luxury luggage brand, helped them get their Google Ads return ad spend from a 1.2x to an above 4x consistently, and that allowed them to scale 40% year over year. If you're tired of not being able to scale past 500k per month and want to even get to 1 million per month, we can help. I will put together a custom 90-day scaling roadmap for your brand specifically. It's a 2-hour deep dive where I personally go through your ad account, your funnel, and your numbers. And I'll help you pinpoint exactly where revenue is leaking and where your biggest growth opportunities are. Some brands just take this roadmap and run with it on their own. Others decide to stick with us to execute. Either way, you walk away with a clear profit-first path to growth. Not a generic PDF, but a custom roadmap tailored to your business specifically. If you're ready for that, click the link in the description. Anyways, back to the video. Problem 2. Optimize for new customer acquisition. A major mistake is bidding the same for new and for existing customers, leading to a lot of wasted spend. The 180k per month supplement brand was spending a lot of money on existing customers rather than spending the money to find new ones and get new customers. And that led to them declining 14% year over year in terms of revenue. The easiest and quickest way to fix that is to go to your campaign settings and then select bid higher for new customers. For aggressive growth, you can even select to only bid for new customers. You obviously have to make sure that the customer lists that you upload to Google are always up to date and are accurate. Ideally, you should directly integrate Google with Klaviyo or with Shopify to make sure that the customer lists are always up to date. You have to make sure that the exclusions are set tight. We want to make sure that the majority of the budget goes to net new customers, because that's the only way that your brand will grow long term. Obviously, it's nice if customers come back, and with certain business models, it might make sense to remarket and advertise to existing customers to make sure that they keep coming back. But the majority of the budget, almost all of the budget, should go to acquire new customers, because that's the only way that you'll be able to scale your brand long term. New customers are crucial for scaling. We scaled AlgoRx, a telehealth platform, from 70k per month to over 260k per month in the first 6 months of working together by focusing on new customer acquisition. Focus your spend where it counts. New buyers, lower CPAs, faster scaling. Problem 3. Tighten your tracking and attribution. You can't fix high ad costs or low return ad spend numbers if you don't trust your own data. In most of the cases, I see that it's set to 28-day click attribution. And that means if someone clicks on an ad and then ends up buying 27 days later, even 28 days later, Google will still count it as a conversion from the Google ad. When in reality, it was so long ago, maybe it helped the customer discover the brand and see where it was coming from, but the ad was in no way responsible for that purchase. With most clients and most brands, whatever, it depends what you're selling, we want to make sure that the attribution window is way shorter than that. We usually recommend a 7-day click attribution window. That means if someone clicks on an ad, in the next 7 days, we want to count that as a conversion that came from that ad directly, and if not, we don't want to count it as a conversion. Obviously, it will lead to lower return ad spend numbers in your ad account, and the results in your ad account will look worse, but in reality, that will be way more accurate and that will reflect way better in terms of which ads are really driving results, which ads are really driving purchases, and which ones are not. If your product is very cheap, then it might make even sense to set it even lower, because then you will rely primarily on impulse purchases and people making quick decisions. And for that, we want to make sure that the attribution window is even shorter. For view-through conversions, we want to be even way more conservative. For those conversions, we usually recommend sending it to 1 day. That means if someone saw an ad, but didn't even click on it, didn't engage with that, then we will only want to count that as a conversion that came from that ad if he converts in the next 24 hours. Because just seeing an ad is not a strong signal. On top of that, we want to make sure that we track the whole funnel. So oftentimes I see that the Google ads are only tracking purchases, when in reality, we also want to make sure that we are tracking add to carts, initiate checkouts, and all the other steps in the funnel. Obviously, those should be only secondary goals, and we don't want to optimize the ads for that. We don't want to report any conversions or results based on those metrics, but we still want to have them in the account, because if we analyze the performance of the ads, if we analyze the performance of the campaigns, we want to be able to see how many people at least added something to cart, how many people started the checkout process, and where are the individual drop-off rates. Because if we suddenly see that one campaign has completely different drop-off rates than all the other campaigns, we know that there's something wrong in that step, and something in the messaging of the ad might not be fitting with what the person is seeing on the website, and therefore we have a higher drop-off rate. And that's why we want to make sure that we're tracking all of the steps in the funnel and can really pinpoint where the drop-off is coming from. Otherwise, we're only able to see whether someone purchased something or not, so it's either just yes or no, and we only have the general conversion rate, but it's oftentimes not enough to really pinpoint and understand what is really happening on the website. Last but not least, we want to make sure that we can cross-check the data with a third-party tracking platform or GA4 or Shopify to make sure that the data is really accurate. Based on how you've set up the tracking, the Google Ads numbers can still be inflated, and we want to make sure that we have a second source of truth, a second data layer where we can look at to make sure that those numbers are accurate. And you need to check that weekly. The 180K per month supplement brand had completely misaligned attribution, and that's why they were thinking that they're getting a 2.45x return ad spend, but in reality, it was way closer to 0.65x. And with that, they were just losing money and wasting money on the Google Ads. Clean tracking prevents paying for non-existent results. For example, when we fixed the tracking for Soteriskin, their cost per conversion dropped to below $50 on Google, which allowed them to really boost the sales. If you fix your tracking, you'll be able to scale with confidence. If you're an ecom founder chasing that 1 million per month milestone, I've built something for you. This free Google Ads playbook outlines the exact step-by-step strategy that I've used to scale over 50 e-commerce brands. These are the exact methods that we use to push brands past plateaus and achieve real, consistent, profitable growth. Really valuable for you, especially if you're in the 50K to 200K per month mark. The link is in the description. Just to recap, these are the things that you have to make sure of. First, split the campaigns. You have to make sure that you separate brand and non-brand campaigns. Don't pay premium for those people that are already willing to buy, that are already searching for your brand, know, like, and trust your products, and are just there to make the purchase. You have to invest into new buyers. Time and time again, I see that the Performance Max campaigns are spending a lot on branded search because people don't exclude those. You have to make sure to exclude the branded terms from all the campaigns. Second, optimize for new customers. You want to incentivize Google to spend more on new customers, and you want to make sure that the majority of the budget goes into new customer acquisition rather than just getting existing customers and previous customers to repurchase again. Obviously, it's nice to have, but it shouldn't be the focus of your budget. And 3, tighten your tracking. Make sure to shorten the attribution windows, track the full funnel, and review your data on a weekly basis. These steps scaled AlgoRx from 70K per month to 260K per month in the first 6 months and helped Globetrotter achieve 40% year-over-year growth. Pick one of these strategies and implement them today. Small steps add up to significant savings and growth. And here's a bonus tip to keep your Google Ads costs under control long term. Do this quick weekly audit to prevent CPA spikes. Check your search term reports. Identify irrelevant searches and make sure to exclude them on a weekly basis. That will just save you a lot of money. At the same time, make sure that all the branded terms are excluded from all the non-brand campaigns. Then review the placement report. For Display and Performance Max, block low-quality sites and apps with poor conversion rates. And obviously monitor your campaign return ad spend. Pause or cut budgets from the campaigns that are underperforming and make sure that you do that frequently. A quick weekly audit can unlock massive growth. These kind of weekly audits catch problems early. For night operators, fixing irrelevant search terms helped us scale the brand from 64K per month to 221K per month in only 2 months. Make this a weekly habit to control your CPAs and scale towards 1 million per month. That's a playbook that I'd use to cut your ad costs and scale your ecom brand faster. Follow these 3 strategies, implement the weekly audits, and you'll set yourself up towards that 1 million per month milestone. But if you really want to make this work, you'll need more than just lowering your CPAs. You will need a growth system that turns every new buyer into long-term revenue. That's exactly what I cover in this video. How we scaled the brand from 113K to 317K per month in revenue in only 75 days by fixing their funnel and increasing lifetime value. Slashing Google Ads CPAs for your 7-figure e-commerce brand is not hard anymore, and I'll show you how. I'm Andre, founder of HoloGrowth, and over the past few years I've audited hundreds of different Google Ads accounts, and I was responsible for over 50 million in tracked revenue for e-commerce brands similar to yours. If you're tired of high CPAs eating up your margins, I got 3 key lessons from our proven system that will completely change how you approach your campaigns. Stay till the end to see how we can take this even further for your brand. Point 1, Build a rock-solid data foundation. Fix your tracking to trust the data. I've talked to dozens of e-commerce brand owners, pulling 100,000 per month or more in revenue. And most of them don't even trust their Google Ads numbers anymore. They see one return ad spend in the ad account. They see completely different numbers on Shopify, different numbers on Google Analytics, and they have no idea who to trust. They have no idea which numbers to make the decisions based on, and they're basically flying blind. They're just guessing where to scale or where to cut costs because they don't really know what is working and what is not working. Post iOS 14, attribution is just a mess if you're not set up right. And I've seen brands waste thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars by relying on wrong data and not the right tracking. So here's how you fix your tracking. First, you need to set up server-side tracking. That ensures that every click and every conversion is captured properly. That server-side tracking should bypass any browser limitations post iOS 14 that block all of that data to come through. These challenges and those browser limitations are a huge hurdle to accurate numbers. Then you should cross-check data between Google Ads and Shopify. On top of that, you should use tools like Google Analytics or a third-party tracking tool. For most of our clients, we use Triple Whale, but there's also Hyros, Polar Analytics, Northbeam, and a bunch of other third-party tracking tools that just give you another data point and another source of truth where you can rely on. And those tools just ensure more clarity and give you more reliability on the data. And last but not least, you should primarily focus on real numbers, real business metrics. Obviously, it's great to have the tracking as accurate as possible, and it's great that the advertising platforms are able to show you as accurately as possible what kind of results you're getting, what the return ad spend is, what the AOV is, conversion rate, all of those things. But in the end, you can only really rely on the real business metrics. So how much did you spend on in total over all of the ads? How many sales did you get? What was the revenue? How many new customers did you get? Like all of those numbers where you're 100% sure that those are accurate and those are real numbers. And those are also the real numbers that matter. Like in the end, a high return ad spend doesn't mean anything if the revenue is flat, the profit is low. Like you have to focus on the things that really matter. So the main metrics that we look at when we scale an e-commerce brand is the blended return ad spend or the marketing efficiency ratio, but also the blended cost per acquisition, the new customer acquisition cost, and obviously the revenue and the profit and the growth of those. The in-platform return ad spend and the return ad spend that all of those third-party tools are tracking are great indicators. They are great at pointing you into the right direction and showing you in general like what works, what doesn't work, which campaign is more efficient, which one is less efficient. But the real business metrics are by far the most important one, and those are the ones that you should make all the real and all the big decisions based on. If the return ad spend on Google suddenly goes up, but you see that the blended customer acquisition cost goes up as well, and it's more expensive for you to acquire new customers, it means it's not working. And whatever you're doing, you shouldn't increase the advertising budget because it's getting more and more expensive to acquire a new customer. Just last week, I talked to a brand where the in-platform metrics for Google Ads looked great. The in-platform metrics for Meta Ads looked great, but they noticed that over the past 2 months, the blended customer acquisition cost became higher and higher. And with that, the profitability for them was lower and lower, and the payback period, whenever a new customer becomes profitable for the brand, extended longer and longer, which led to the brand having cash flow issues and not being able to reinvest a lot into paid ads and not being able to scale up the ads, even though the numbers inside the platforms look great. It's just that the business metrics on the other side told a completely different story. And on the ads, everything looked great, but there were some issues going on, some other problems going on that led to the business not being good, not scaling in a healthy way. And with that, we had to cut down the ad spend and change the advertising strategy, because with the business metrics, it just didn't make sense to scale up, even though the return ad spend in the platforms looked great. So why do you need all of this? First, without proper tracking, you're just flying blind. You're just guessing what works, guessing what doesn't work, and trying to scale things up without having the real data and knowing what works and what doesn't work. No amount of budget tweaking will save you if your CPAs and your customer acquisition costs are just too high until you get the right data. Once you start following this strategy, you'll know exactly what is working, what is not working, and where you're bleeding cash. If your ad costs keep climbing and you're not sure why, it's time for a deeper look. At HoloGrowth, we offer a custom 90-day scaling roadmap, a completely free hands-on audit of what is currently working in your account, what is not working, and how we can scale your brand to the next level. We dive into your ad accounts, look at your whole funnel, and analyze every opportunity to cut your customer acquisition cost in half. We help brands like AlgoRx scale from $70K per month to over $500K per month in revenue in less than 1 year using that approach. Ready to stop guessing and start scaling? Click the button below to book your free strategy session and let's build your roadmap together. But now let's move on to the next strategy. Point 2, structure campaigns around customer value. Target smarter, not broader. To drop your CPAs on Google, you have to target smarter because throwing more budget at everyone will not work. It will not get you a lower customer acquisition cost. Too many e-commerce brand owners think that scaling up Google Ads just means blasting out to everyone, using broad match keywords, broad targeting, and just ramping up the ad spend to try to acquire as many customers as possible. But that's just the fast track to $100 CPAs and a lot of wasted budget. The smarter way is here. High intent keywords. You should focus on exact match or at least phrase match keywords to target people with high intent. So people searching exactly what you're offering and people that are already in active buying mode and looking for your product specifically. Those are the people that are the easiest to convert, that have the shortest conversion cycles because they're actively searching for something that you can give them, that you can offer them. And you just have to make sure that you put your ad in front of them, that it's attractive, that it shows the right benefits, and they will buy. And using exact match keywords and phrase match keywords ensures that you're not wasting any advertising budget on keywords that are not relevant or don't have the high intent behind them. Obviously, the search volume will be lower since you're targeting very specific keywords, but it just maximizes your efficiency. With that, you can also make sure that the ads are really custom tailored to what the person is searching for. If someone searches for a very, very specific keyword, a very high intent search term, you want to make sure that the ad really shows them exactly what that person is searching for. This way, you can also ensure that you custom tailor each ad and each messaging to exactly what the person is searching for. If you have a broad match keyword, Google will show your ad to a lot of people with a lot of different search terms. And no matter what they search for, they can see your ad basically. With exact match keywords on the other side, you know exactly what the person is searching for. You target specifically what one person is searching for. And then you can make sure that the ad copy is really custom tailored to what the person is looking for. Because if someone searches for a specific thing, you want to make sure that your ad has exactly what the person is searching for and exactly in the way how they phrased it and how they're looking for it. And obviously make sure that it also has the benefits, the USPs, what makes you unique from all the competitors, and it has like an attractive offer with that. But you can really focus on the messaging and really make sure that that your ad is custom tailored to what the person searched for. That's why we also always recommend to have single themed ad groups. So basically group the keywords up in different ad groups based on the theme, what is someone searching for, and also based on the intent. What is the exact product that they're searching for? What is the intent? What is the theme behind what they're looking for? And that way, if you only group those keywords together and have only a few very tight exact match or phrase match keywords in one single ad group, you can make sure that the messaging and the ad is really custom tailored to what they're looking for. And also that the landing page just resonates, because obviously based on how high the intent of the person is, you want to send them to different parts of the website. It might be the home page, it might be the collection page, it might be the PDP, the product page, it might be a landing page, it might be an article. Like there are a lot of different things, and based on the intent, you want to send them to different parts of the website. Obviously, if it's something very, very specific for a very specific product with high purchase intent, we want to send them to the product page right away to make sure that it's as smooth as possible and that they can buy right away. The second thing is to layer in tight audience segmentation. So on top of targeting specific keywords and also with your Performance Max campaigns, adding in specific search themes with your different asset groups, on top of that, you want to layer in audience segments and audience targeting. That can on the one side be on the location, on the geographical side of things, but also based on interests, based on lookalike audiences or similar audiences to your existing customers. With Google, you can even go to competitor websites and target visitors of your competitor websites or people who are similar to people who visit your competitor websites. Since Google has all of that information, you can be very, very granular when it comes to the targeting and really pinpoint who exactly your audience is and how to target your audience in the most effective way. Obviously, especially in the beginning, if you don't really know who your target audience is, who your buyer avatar, like how does the person look like, you also have to do a lot of testing. A lot of people think that they know who their customer is and they have this idea in their mind who their dream buyer is, who that customer is. But in reality, once we start advertising, we see that it's someone completely else, or that there are 2-3 different avatars that we're targeting and different audiences that we're targeting. And for that, you obviously have to test different things. You have to see like, how does one audience compare to another one? How does a very, very tight, a very specific one compare to a broader audience? And all of those things need to be tested, and you need to have different asset groups, different ad sets, and everything that is targeting different people. And at all times, you should be running some experiments that see like what is working, what is not working, and how can you further improve the results. But this strategy definitely helps you dial in your exact audience and know who to target, and then obviously also what messaging do they resonate with, what kind of messaging do they respond to. And the third thing is remarketing for lower costs. Nowadays, with a lot of products, it's not enough for the customer to see one ad and be ready to buy right away. So a lot of customers, we need to have multiple touch points. We need to guide them through the customer journey and get them from someone who is completely unaware, has never seen the brand before, has never seen the product before, doesn't even know what is going on. We have to like capture their attention first, get them to the website, but then also guide them through the customer journey and make sure that they have multiple touch points, ideally even through different platforms. So also like meta ads, email marketing, organic content, but that we target them with multiple different messagings, different ads, different campaigns, and also handle all of their potential objections that they might have after visiting the website for the first time and deciding to not buy right away. There are a few different ways how you can approach remarketing on Google Ads. Obviously, the most traditional way is just a traditional like display remarketing campaign. Then nowadays also with demand gen, you can do a remarketing campaign and basically upload different photos, like images, videos, the shopping feed and everything, and use all of those to retarget website visitors. You can also add in remarketing audiences for your search campaigns and for your search ads. So if someone is searching for a similar, like for a generic product, but he visited your brand before, your website before, you want to be even more aggressive on those audiences, and you want to bid higher and spend more money on those people on the search ads. Because if he visited your website before, the chances that they will buy if they just search for a generic product are way higher. So you can be way more aggressive on those audiences. You should be really careful to not spend too much money on warm audiences and on remarketing. With a lot of brands, we see that the issue that they have is actually not that they're not remarketing, is that they're spending too much money on remarketing and on branded terms and existing customers. Because obviously the algorithms nowadays, they want to optimize everything for the highest possible return ad spend and the lowest possible customer acquisition cost. So if you don't exclude anyone, they will also advertise to existing customers and warm audiences. So in some instances, it might make sense to have a separate remarketing campaign and put more budget behind those people, but you always have to make sure that it's still balanced and that still by far the majority of the budget goes into new customers and cold traffic, new customer acquisition, because that will have the biggest impact on the growth of the business long term. But at the same time, we want to make sure that the people who are already warmed up, that are already visited the website, that we convert them and that they end up buying. Just make sure to exclude people who bought, especially if they just bought in the last 7 days, 30 days, 60 days. We don't want to keep advertising to those. With some brands, we exclude all existing customers because we know that if they bought once, the product is so good, they will automatically come back. Then there's also email marketing on top of that gets them to come back. And with some brands, it's just a one-time product, and chances that they will come back are just very, very low. Like if someone just bought a bed, just bought a couch, like chances that they want to buy another couch in the next few weeks are really, really low, really slim. So we just want to exclude them from all the campaigns and make sure that all of the budget goes towards new customer acquisition. But in the end, you just have to make sure that you structure all of the campaigns and the whole account for value and to maximize the value that you get out of the ads while obviously minimizing the cost. And if you structure your account that way, Google will just reward you with lower CPAs and a higher return ad spend. For one of our clients, Globetrotter, we refined the Google Ads targeting and really dialed it in, made sure that we target the right people with the right messaging and the right ads at the right time. And with that, we've been able to massively increase the return ad spend from a below 1x return ad spend to an above 4x, in most months, even a 5x return ad spend on Google Ads. You shouldn't just spend your budget everywhere and try to convert everyone. Make sure that you spend your budget where it really counts and you target the right people, and your returns will be significantly better. Now, if you're serious about scaling and want to see what a real scaling system looks like, I've got something special for you. I've put together a free Google Ads guide built from over $50 million in tracked data across dozens of Google Ads accounts. It's packed with actionable steps on how to reduce your CPAs and improve the return ad spend of your Google ad campaigns. And this will allow you to scale confidently to 7 figures per month in revenue. And this isn't just some theory, it's the exact tactics that we use to scale Nooktails from 30K per month to 500K per month in just 70 days. Click the link below to grab your copy now. Let's move to the final strategy. Point 3, testing messaging and creatives relentlessly. Wrong messaging, bad creatives, and ad fatigue just drives up costs massively. Lastly, you can't lower CPAs on Google without relentlessly testing different creatives, different messaging, and different approaches. Sticking to the same ads will just kill your performance over time. Most e-commerce brands just cling onto the same polished ads, the same branded ads over and over again that just say exactly the same thing and exactly the same thing that everyone else in the industry. And they do that because they want to stay on brand or because they want to be safe, because that's what they have always done. But that's exactly what leads to high customer acquisition costs and low performance. On Google search, all the ads just look the same. Like someone searches for a product like yours and they see 3 to 5 different ads from you and from the competitors, and all of the messaging is just exactly the same. It's the same thing over and over again, and the only thing that makes them decide is maybe the price, or that it's at the very top of the results, or that one brand that they've seen it before and that's why they click on that. You want to make sure that your messaging is different, your messaging stands out, and make sure that it calls out an emotion in the person that's searching for the product. On your display ads and on your YouTube campaigns, you want to make sure that there is no ad fatigue that kicks in. On Meta, on Facebook, Instagram, every single e-commerce brand tends to understand that they need to have a lot of creatives. They need to test creatives. They need to test images, videos, keep refreshing them, keep launching new ones, and doing that over and over again. But most of the brands don't do the same thing on Google. On Google, you also have to make sure that you test completely new display ads, new images, new creatives, new videos on YouTube. Like we see great performance from YouTube Shorts, which is very, very similar to Instagram and to Reels and TikTok kind of content. And with that, you have to do exactly the same creative testing as you do on Meta and see what works, see what doesn't work, do more of what works, do less of what doesn't work, and then also scale up the winners and make sure that ad fatigue doesn't kick in. Make sure that they keep working and that you keep refreshing it frequently. When Google notices that your ads don't perform anymore, that the videos don't get any engagement, people don't like it, people don't watch it, your CPMs will go up, it will be more expensive to advertise, and the performance just will go down. For a lot of e-commerce brands, shopping ads are also a huge part of the business. Like on Google, we oftentimes see that 50% of the total advertising budget goes towards shopping ads, and we deliberately spend more on shopping because we see that the results are great there. But on shopping, we also want to test different creatives. We also want to test different ads. With normal ads, it's clear that you have the copy, you have the headline, the description, potentially the image, the video. But on shopping, you also have the same thing. It's just slightly different. On shopping, it's the listing that is the creative. It's the listing, the product listing that is the ad. So you have to make sure that you test different product images, different product titles, product descriptions, and that you optimize those things and test those things to see how can you improve the results of the shopping ads. Because pretty much every brand has just their basic product image with a white background, and that's it. But with that, you can't stand out anymore. Like every brand has the same like product image with a white background, and if your packaging is not like very, very special and completely different to what everyone else is doing, or your product looks completely different to everyone else, then it will not work. It will not be enough to get you high click-through rates and get you good performance. So you need to have a product feed management tool, for example, Data Feed Watch, that allows you to edit the product images, that allows you to edit the titles, edit the descriptions, edit all the variables, and also test different things. See how does a lifestyle photo compare to a white background? How does a white background compare to an orange background? Just as an example, and test different things. Also with the title, should you have the brand title in the beginning, like the brand name, or should it be at the end? Should the main benefit be first? Like what does work the best? And based on the industry, based on the products, we see different things work best. And you have to make sure that you test those things, improve those things, and don't just look at shopping ads as can I turn them on, off, how do I target them? But you also need to look at the creative, look at the ad from the shopping ads. While scaling brands like Night Operators from 64K per month to over 200K per month in 2 months, I really noticed how important it is and how crucial it is to keep testing different creatives and keep updating, keep iterating, keep improving based on the feedback that you're getting so that you can really ramp up fast, scale up fast, and keep increasing the ad spend without the customer acquisition cost and the CPAs skyrocket. To implement creative testing relentlessly, here are 3 simple steps that you can follow. First, do weekly iterations. You should run 3 to 5 new variations every single week, depending on your ad spend. Test different headlines, different descriptions, different images, different value propositions to really see what is driving the best results, what is getting people to click on the ad at the highest rate. For that, we always recommend Google's 70-20-10 rule. 70% of the time and effort should go towards creatives that are already working. You're already proven winners. So stuff that works, and just creating new versions, new variations, new iterations of your proven winners. 20% of the time and effort should go into similar creatives. So basically looking at what worked, looking at what are currently the best performing creatives, and then creating similar ads, similar creatives. And the last 10% of the time and effort should go towards testing completely new things, completely new approaches, completely new angles, and testing completely new things. That ensures that the majority of the time and effort goes into the things that get you the best results, the things that are already working, that are proven, and that are successful. And that's how you maximize your output and your ROI on the time that you invest into it. But you still have the 20% of similar things and 10% completely new things, so that you keep innovating, that you keep coming up with new things and keep figuring out what is really working, what is not working, and get new winners long term. Then you should always focus on pain points when it comes to your ads and your creative. Generic product shot will never be as strong as calling out a specific pain point, a specific problem, pain that your customer is having, and showing them how your product can bridge the gap from that pain to not having that pain. This really helps you connect emotionally to cold traffic and to people who have never heard of your brand before, and still make sure that the ad captures their attention and gets them to look at it and go to the site. And lastly, track and scale fast. You should look at click-through rates, conversions, cost per conversions daily. This way, you can really kill losing ads fast and scale the winners. Depending on how many ads you launch, every few weeks or every few months, you should sit down and look at the last 100 creatives that you created, and then look at what are the top 10%, what are the 10 best ads that came out of those 100 ads, what do they have in common, what worked, what didn't work. But then also, what are the lowest 10%? Like, what are the 10% of the worst ads that didn't work? Potentially even the 20% that didn't work. What do those have in common? Why did they not work? And then basically just use that as your feedback loop and keep creating more ads of the top 10% that are working, that are getting the best results. And then just keep doing that over and over again until your ads become better and better, and your content and your creatives become better and better. And consistently testing, consistently experimenting and improving can have huge impacts on the business. With Okimono, an apparel e-commerce brand, we set up a very simple collections page A/B test. So we basically had 2 different variants of the collection page to see which one works better. And to set up the whole test took us 5 minutes, probably even less than that, because it was just about removing one element from the page. And that one test led to $46,000 in additional monthly revenue without making any changes on the ads, any other changes on the website, any changes to the products. From one single A/B test, we had $46,000 in additional monthly revenue indefinitely. When we rolled out the test, it just kept getting those results. It kept getting those improvements, which was a night and day difference for the brand. And that just shows you how extremely powerful testing can be. Tracking, testing, and iterations. Those things aren't sexy. They aren't, for most people, they aren't fun. It's just boring and bland, and you have to do the same things over and over again. Keep improving, keep tweaking, keep trying to get those small differences, small changes. But those are the things that really matter. And long term, those are the things that will turn your Google Ads into a predictable growth engine. And those are the things that will allow you to grow your brand long term and outcompete everyone else in the industry, because they're not willing to do it. Like, if for you it's a lot of work, if you don't want to do it, if it's boring, that's exactly what everyone else is skipping on, and that's exactly what everyone else is not doing. And that's why if you do that, if you are deliberate at doing that and do those things over and over again, keep improving, keep looking at what's working, what is not working, keep having the feedback loop, that's how you grow your brand, and that's how you get the best possible results long term. But now let's wrap this up. You don't lower your CPAs by cutting the ad spend, or how some Google reps will tell you, by massively increasing your ad spend. No. You cut your CPAs by understanding your data, by tightening your campaign structure and your targeting, and really tracking everything like a pro. Pick at least one strategy from today and implement it this week. Small fixes can compound into massive savings. And if you just watch this video, don't implement anything, you haven't learned anything, and it will not help you build your brand and grow your brand. If you want to go even deeper into reducing ad costs fast and really scaling profitability, I've broken down 3 of my most effective strategies in another video. It's a must watch if you're really ready to bring your CPAs down and scale your brand with confidence. Watch it now and keep building your growth. Just do more of what already works. So I talk to a lot of e-commerce brand owners, operators on a weekly basis. And they come to us because they want to make more money. They want to scale their business, make more revenue, and reach the 8 figures per year in revenue. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Andre, founder of HoloGrowth, and we're a growth agency or growth partners for e-commerce brands. And we partner up with them and help them scale as quickly and as profitably as possible. And I talk to a lot of e-commerce brand owners, founders, operators, and they obviously all want to scale. They want to get more sales. And for that, they want to try a lot of different things. They have a lot of different ideas, a lot of different strategies in their mind that could help them get more sales. And when I talk to them for the first time, the first question that I always ask is, where are most of your new customers coming from right now? What is currently working for you? And some of the founders don't even know that, really. Like, it surprises me, but they don't have the numbers and they're not sure. Like, they think that most of the customers are coming in from Google ads, from Meta ads, from organic, from email, from content, from word of mouth, whatever. Like, some of them have an assumption and they just talk about it based on that. But some also have the real numbers. So, and if, for example, they say that their Meta ads work, they spend, let's say, $2,000 per day on the Meta ads, and that's where most of the customers are coming from. And now they come to us and they have a bunch of ideas of what they want to try, what they want to do to increase their sales. They want to try different channels. They want to go into TikTok, Pinterest, Twitter, Google, whatever. Then they want to do live streams on TikTok or on YouTube and do like live selling. Then they want to do more content. They want to do more SEO. They want to increase their conversion rates. They want to increase their retention, do their email marketing. And they have hundreds of ideas and all of those things that they want to do, but they don't have the resources or the knowledge to do that. And that's what they come to us for. But then the first thing that I ask them after that, after I figured out what the number one source of new customers is why don't you just do more of that? And people are usually a little bit confused. They don't really expect that question, and I usually have to explain it. But let's say they spend $2,000 on Meta ads, and I ask them, like, why don't you spend $4,000 per day on the Meta ads? Why don't you spend $10,000 per day? Like, why don't you just do more of what works? And then they usually have to think about it. But usually there's some issue, some problem that is holding them back from scaling. Like, there's some that just say that whenever they try to increase, like most of them say whenever they try to increase, the return on ad spend goes down. And then we obviously have to go more into the specifics, look more into the data and see whether why it goes down and by how much it goes down. Because oftentimes when you spend twice as much, the ads are not as efficient as they were when you were spending less. But at the same time, you have a more absolute return. You still make more money, even though the relative return on the invested capital is lower. The absolute return is higher. So just as an example, if you spend 1,000 and you get 2,000 back, you have a 2-to-1 return in profit. And then if you spend 2,000 and you get 3,500 back, the relative return is lower. But because you don't have the 2-to-1 anymore, but in absolute terms, you've made more because you made $1,500 in the second time and only $1,000 in the first time. So that's the first thing. And then oftentimes there are like a lot of things that need to happen. Like, you can't just double the ad spend. You also have to double the creative output. You have to double the testing. You have to do all of those things to make sure that at the double at double the ad spend, the performance is still there. But that's how you basically have to analyze it and look at how can we just do more of what already works. Because if you suddenly start to do different things and you try completely different platforms, completely different channels, different methods to acquire new customers, the chances that you'll be successful are significantly lower because you need to figure out how this channel works, what doesn't. You have to do way more testing. You have to learn about all the intricacies of that method of customer acquisition. And the chances are way, way higher that it will not work and that it will take weeks, months, maybe even years until you figure out how that new method of customer acquisition, that new channel works. Whereas with a channel that is already working, that is already generating you customers, that is already getting you results, where you already have data, learnings, and everything that you did, it will be way easier to just get that channel to do more and get better results from that one channel compared to just testing a lot of new things. Because also if you suddenly start focusing on something else entirely, the first channel, your main customer acquisition source, will probably suffer because you will not be able to invest as much time as you are currently doing into that one, and it will not be as successful. So what I want to say to you is, if you have something that works, just try to do more of. Just try to double down on it. Spend more. Do more. If content works for you, just ask yourself, what would it take to do 10 times as much volume? Just do more of what already works rather than testing hundreds of different things, because your resources are limited, your time is limited, your money is limited, and you have to prioritize the things, you have to go after the things that have the highest likelihood of being successful and growing your business. And that is usually what is already working right now, and then just doing more of it. I hope that was valuable, and I hope it helps you grow your business. Bye. Today, I want to talk about one of the main reasons why businesses fail, and that is speed, or more so, the lack of speed. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Andre, founder of HoloGrowth, and we help e-commerce businesses scale to 1 million per month in revenue. And over the last couple of weeks, it has become more present to me that one of the main reasons why a lot of businesses fail, whether it's e-commerce businesses or other businesses, is that they lack speed and that they're not fast enough. And let me tell you 3 examples where I really realized that, 3 real world examples that will show you why speed is way more important than a lot of business owners and a lot of brands think. The first example is that advertising just gets more expensive. Over the last couple of years, over the last couple of decades even, the advertising costs became more and more expensive. And I talked to a lot of different business owners, a lot of different e-commerce founders, and a lot of them say that in the past, it was easy to run ads. In the past, everything was profitable, everything was running, but now suddenly they're not good enough to run profitable ads anymore. And the return ad spend is just too low. The cost to advertise, the cost to acquire a new customer is too high. And they all wish that they would have spent more money previously. When it worked, when they were profitable in the past, they all wish that they would have spent significantly more money. But most of them didn't, because they took it for granted that the advertising costs were so low, and they wanted to rather be safe and scale slowly, or don't scale at all, and be more profitable, and don't be as aggressive on the customer acquisition side, because they didn't think that those good old days, those times will change, and that the cost to advertise will consistently go up, and that at some point, with the setup that they have and the product and the marketing strategies, they'll not be able to advertise anymore, and they'll not be able to acquire new customers. And now they can't advertise anymore. And obviously, there are marketing strategies, and there are things like strategies that you can do to make the ads work again. But obviously, the more expensive it is to advertise, the more difficult it is to get ads work. So if you have something that works, and if you have something that is profitable, that is scalable, you should scale the hell out of it and be as aggressive as possible, because otherwise, like next week, next month, next year, it might not work anymore. And you'll regret not being aggressive now and not scaling now. The second thing, where it became really present to me how important speed is. I started recording more and more YouTube videos, and I recently wanted to hire someone to create thumbnails for me, because I just don't want to do those for myself, and I'm not a designer. So I'm in a business network, in a coaching group with a lot of business owners, a lot of different business owners. And I posted there that I'm looking for a thumbnail designer and whether anyone noticed anyone. And there were two business owners that reached out to me that one of their services is to design thumbnails, and that they would love to work with me and create thumbnails for me. I decided to just test out both, go with both, and ordered 3 thumbnails from each business. On Wednesday, I provided all of the information, like 50 different photos that they can use, the exact video titles, what the videos will be about, and all the information that they need. They both said, sure, we'll handle that. We'll take care of that. Okay. One of the businesses was 4 times more expensive than the other one. 4 times more expensive. I still decided to test out both and see how it goes. Thursday comes, the next day, and one of the businesses already provides me all the 3 thumbnails that I've ordered, and they look amazing. It was the business that was 4 times more expensive, but like the next day, I received all the 3 thumbnails. They look great. I didn't have anything to change. I loved them. So on the next day, on Friday, I already ordered the next set of thumbnails with them. Well, from the other, I didn't hear anything. After a couple of days, I even reached out to the cheaper one and asked just like, how's it going? Do you have an estimated time frame when it will happen? And they just said, yeah, in the next few days. So next week comes by, from the first one, like from the more expensive one. Again, I already received the next round of thumbnails, already asked them to make some quick changes. And about 12 hours later, I got the changed versions, and I was stoked. I was really happy with the thumbnails. The other agency, the other business, took another 2 or 3 days. So until Wednesday or Thursday, the following week, until they sent me the first thumbnail, and then the other 2 a couple hours later. And their designs were not bad. They were worse than the first ones. But before they even shared the thumbnails, before they shared the designs, I already knew that I would not go with them and that I would rather go with the other ones, because they were so much quicker. Like the speed was a night and day difference. Like 24 hours later, I already had 3 thumbnails. I could do another round and ask them for some changes and got them immediately implemented. With the first one, it took more than a week to get the first draft of the thumbnails. And I imagine if I would have want to have something changed, it would probably take another couple of days. And as a business owner who values my time, I'm willing to pay more for the business that is just significantly quicker and gets the job done fast. So that is the second reason why speed is important. Now, the third and last example is one client of ours recently launched a new product line in their business. It's an apparel brand, and they launched a completely new product line. Before they launched it, they created some teasers on Instagram about that new product category, and it went viral. Like, it went crazy viral. It got, I think, about 5 million views on Instagram, and also on TikTok and YouTube. And yeah, it went really viral. The comments were primarily negative. It was mostly people hating on the product, but it got a lot of awareness, a lot of reach. Then when they launched the products, it immediately became the best-selling product. From one day to the next, best-selling product. The ad performance significantly spiked, the sales spiked, revenue spiked, conversion rate spiked, everything, like all the business metrics, massively improved. And you're probably wondering how that relates to speed. Now, it's about 3 to 4 weeks ago that they launched that product line. And already now, all the big competitors are starting to go after that product line and start also developing similar products. There were already some other brands that had like similar products, and like after they saw what kind of impact it had, they just started creating similar videos, promoting it in a similar way, and trying to catch up on the trend. And all the big competitors who didn't have a product like that before, they already started developing those products and releasing similar products. So with that brand, we now have a short time frame where we are the category leader and where we have the first market movers advantage, and where we have to scale the hell out of this product and scale the hell out of those ads, because we have the advantage that we are the first one who really like have that product and advertise that product in this type of way. And we know that in the next couple of months, every single brand will have something like that, because they all see that it went viral. They all see that it's suddenly in the best-selling list on the website, and they all know that it's a high-performing product. So obviously, they want to take that for their brand. So we have to make sure that in this time frame that we have, we're as aggressive as possible and are not too careful. Like, don't say like, yeah, we don't want to scale right now. We want to be careful. We want to see how it goes. We need to wait until the stock is like 100% ready. Like, we have to make as many sales as humanly possible with that product and advertise everything that we can. Like, the products are sold out right now. So we immediately told the brand we need to start a pre-order campaign. We need to keep selling the products. We need to keep the hype up as long as we can and push as much as we can, because we have this short window where we have outlandish returns and excellent performance on all business metrics, on the ads and everything. So we have to make use of that. I hope that shows you the importance of speed in business and why those were like 3 completely different aspects of the business. And these all show you why being fast, being quick, and being able to iterate and have speed in the business will have the biggest advantage on the business and will make sure that you don't fail and that you're successful, because the brands, the businesses that are the fastest, that are able to implement changes and iterations and create content and whatever, do things the fastest, those are usually the ones that succeed. And those are the ones that get the best results possible. Yeah. So I wanted to share that with you. Please make sure that you do things fast, that you're not lazy, that you're not slow. And I hope that was valuable. Bye. If your e-commerce site takes longer than 2 seconds to load, you're literally watching money walk out the door. For every extra second of load time, you lose 7 to 10% of your conversions. That means a site that takes 5 seconds to load is losing you more than 30% of your revenue. I audited over 50 e-commerce brands this year, and more than 80% of them had page speed issues that were costing them thousands in sales every single day. The crazy part, most of those issues can be fixed in 30 minutes. Today, I'm walking you through our 5-step speed optimization checklist that we use to slash load times and boost conversions for our clients. We've used these fixes to help brands increase their conversion rates by 20 to 40% just by making their page speed faster. In the next 5 minutes, you'll get the complete checklist and know exactly what to implement first to get the biggest impact. Let's start with the number 1 speed killer that is on 80% of the e-commerce sites. Before we go into the number 1 page speed killer, let's start with why page speed even matters. So first of all, the bounce rate just spikes. When load times exceed 2 seconds, the bounce rate skyrockets. Like, literally, we see it day in and day out. The longer your page takes to load, the higher your bounce rates. Then there's a huge SEO impact. Like, Google prioritizes pages that have faster page speed, and slow pages hurt your rankings. And you definitely see a conversion boost. Like, obviously, with a lower bounce rate and also with just a better customer experience, user experience, even a 1-second improvement in speed can lift conversions up by 7 to 10%. We even had one client, they had a completely terrible page speed when we started working together. And after partnering up and fixing all the issues, getting their GT metrics ranking from a grade E, which is like one of the worst rankings that you can have, to a grade A, and have everything as optimized as possible, their conversion rate doubled overnight. Like literally, it doubled from one day to the next just by improving the page speed. It had crazy impact. It had a crazy impact on the brand, on the revenue, because it basically just doubled sales overnight. So remember, you have roughly 1.7 seconds to capture attention, and you have to make every millisecond count. So let's get into the first crucial mistake that leads to a lot of pages have a very low page speed. And those are the images. The number one thing, like if you only do one thing, you have to compress and optimize your images. We see so many websites, so many brands that just have the wrong image formats, the wrong image sizes, and it just has a massive impact on the page speed and just slows down everything. So you basically have to identify what are the large files. Like if you do page speed analysis using GTmetrix or Google's page speed insights, you will see what the biggest files are. But you can also just go to your Shopify settings and files and then look whether there are any images, any files that exceed 200 kilobytes. And if you're not familiar with like optimizing page speed, you might think that like having an image that is like 500 kilobytes or even 1 megabyte isn't too bad, but it just kills your page speed. So basically, look at every file, every image that exceeds 200 kilobytes, and then compress it with a tool like TinyPNG, completely free tool. You can even bulk compress like a bunch of images, like product images, banner images, everything. At the same time, make sure that you use responsive images, responsive sizes. So basically, ensure that you're using like the resizing option that Shopify allows you to have, so that the images are in the right size. And also make sure to enable lazy loading. So for everything that is below the fold, so when a person comes onto your website, the stuff that they don't see right away, that is like below where they have to scroll, for those kind of images, you have to enable lazy loading. That ensures that the site doesn't load them right away, but like that the site focuses on the stuff that is at the top, that is above the fold, the most important things first, and then loads the rest of the page later on. Some Shopify themes have that like natively built in, but if not, you need to find an app or developer that is able to implement it for you. Like just doing that can reduce page weight by 20 to 50%, and with that have a massive impact on your page speed. The second thing, eliminate unnecessary apps and scripts. So basically look at all the apps that you have in Shopify and in the page speed report and see which apps do take a lot of time, which ones have large scripts and which ones slow down the page. We sometimes like get added to a Shopify brand of a website, and we see that they have 30 different apps, 40 different apps running on the page, and they're usually not even using most of them. And it just massively slows down the page. You should have as little apps as humanly possible to make sure that the page speed is as fast as possible. Deactivate any or remove any like pop-ups, spin to wins, or social feed apps that you don't use. They're oftentimes big slowdowns. So obviously for your email marketing, you need to have a pop-up, but it has to be optimized and it shouldn't appear like right away. It shouldn't impact your page speed. If you need something, try to replace it with like lightweight tools, like have a pop-up or reviews that are speed optimized and that allow you to run without like massively slowing down the page. You can also use a script manager or like native theme code to ensure that the app scripts only load on relevant pages so that you don't unnecessarily slow down every single page or the home page if the apps are not even used on that specific page. Like 1 or 2 heavy apps can shave off an entire seconds from your load time if you just remove them or replace them. So first of all, remove what you don't need, and then what you need, try to optimize it, find alternatives, or just improve the page speed of those. At the same time, defer or remove extra pixels. So for the tracking, for the paid ads and everything else that you do for like analyzing how the people behave on your site. You obviously need tracking, you need pixels, but you have to make sure that you only have the pixels that you're actively using, that are actively necessary. Also, for example, the Google Tag Manager usually massively slows down the page. So if you can, don't use the Google Tag Manager. Rather try to use Shopify's native integrations of like the Facebook tracking, the Google tracking, because those are just way better for the page speed. If you have unused pixels, obviously just remove them. Like a lot of brands have like a Pinterest tracking, TikTok tracking, even though they don't run any ads of those platforms. Like maybe they did at some point, but they don't anymore. For lesser used but still needed pixels, have a developer that just defers the loading so that the main page content loads first, and then later on those pixels get added to it. Obviously, don't remove anything that you need, like Facebook tracking if you run Facebook ads, Google ads tracking if you run Google ads. They're critical. Like you need to have them, but still check whether you can optimize them or make sure that they don't load right away if you don't need them. The goal is that the main content just appears as quickly as possible while the tracking scripts still run in the background without slowing down the page. Then the fourth thing is like a more technical stuff. So if you don't know it, like give that to your developer, give that to someone, or find someone on Fiverr or Upwork who can implement that for you if you don't know what it is. But you basically have to identify external resources, like looking at GTmetrix or other like page speed tools. And then you'll see that there are like Google Fonts, Analytics, and things like that that just take up a lot of time to load. And then you can add those prefetch tags and pre-connect tags to make sure that it's just speed up and it's quicker. And you basically just add that to the hero section, to the theme liquid, to the head section of the code. And this is basically what it looks like. And that just leads to faster domain lookups, which can also like add a couple of like 100 to 300 milliseconds of your load time. So obviously, compared to the other things, it will not have that huge effect, that huge impact. But if you have a lot of traffic and if everything else is already optimized, this can help just squeeze everything out of it and make sure that everything is as optimized as humanly possible and you don't lose any traffic to a slow page load. So the fifth and last step is basically like testing it, have a baseline where you are before. So run a GTmetrix report and a Google page speed report before you make any changes. Obviously, make sure to save your scores, make screenshots of it, save the reports, then start implementing the changes one by one. And after every test, retest it and really really track and see how much of an impact it has, whether like how big the positive impact is, whether it has a real impact. And that way you can really track the improvements and see whether you're optimizing the page speed or just wasting time. And then you should be you should have ongoing monitoring of it. So with all of our clients, in our like reporting dashboard, we have automatic tests on a weekly basis of the homepage, the main collection page, and the main product pages. And on a weekly basis, every single week on a Monday, we automatically run page speed reports from all the main pages, the ones that have the highest traffic and the highest impact on the customer experience, on the customer journey. And then we can consistently see whether there's suddenly a drop in page speed, whether there's a drop in performance. And then we can actively see like what changed, what changes did we make, what change did the brand make, what kind of apps did they install, and basically make sure that it's always optimized. Also, if we suddenly see an increase in bounce rate or a decrease in conversion rate, we can just immediately go to our reporting dashboard and see whether there was a change in load time, in page performance. And based on that, we can make way better decisions and way better optimizations. And yeah, it's basically all in there. So a quick checklist for you to make sure that you do the most important things. Basically, compress all the images with like tiny PNG or a similar tool, remove or replace non-essential apps, deactivate unused pixels or marketing tags, add the DNS, prefetch, pre-connect tags for external domains, and then make sure to test with GTmetrix or Google PageSpeed to confirm improvements. The goal should be that the page load time is under 2 seconds on both mobile and desktop. And with that, you'll ensure that you will have the lowest bounce rate possible and the highest conversion rate and performance possible. Because even though it has nothing to do with paid ads, like after the page speed improves, you always see a massive bump, massive increase in conversion rate, in performance of the paid ads, and your return ads. Just doing that, your return ad spend could go up 20 to 30%. Your customer acquisition cost can go down, and you will have significantly better results. So by applying those quick wins, you'll see immediate improvement in page load times. Like it shouldn't take a week or a month or something. It will happen right away. As I mentioned, we had one client where from one day to the next, their conversion rate doubled. I wouldn't expect that for you. It's not the benchmark. It was it was the biggest effect that we ever saw. Usually it's an increase of 20 to 30%, but it all goes down to the bottom line and to the sales, to the conversions, and you will see higher conversion rates. You'll also have way fewer frustration on the customers, fewer bounces. They will enjoy shopping on your site more. Google will prefer your site, like the SEO will be better. And yeah, just a quick bonus tip, don't forget to keep an eye on new apps, new scripts that you add. Sometimes like a single pop-up, a single change, a single app, a single analytics tool can just undo all the speed gains that you've just made. But following this checklist, following the framework, you'll ensure that you'll have the best possible results, best possible page speed. I hope that was valuable. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you'll crush it. Bye. If you made it all the way to the end, we should 100% talk. Just book a call below to see how we can implement these strategies and way more than that into your brand. Speak to you soon.